Hey folks, alcaras here with another tournament game. We've got Sabertooth versus Blaj. I'm very happy to say I've got a co-commentator joining me, FilthyRobot. Hello, Filthy.
Hey mate, you didn't tell me I was gonna be part of this intro, so I constantly,
No,
shove some food in my mouth.
no worries. Well timed. Yeah, so we've got a coastal rain basin duel. Duel is now the new map size, replacing the old duel, which got renamed to Tiny, so it's a little bit smaller. Kind of like the original map sizes back in the day that were smaller for MP when MP maps were smaller, which makes for a little faster games. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 city sites on each side with 2 in the middle, so it should be a nice quick game. It's Coastal Rain Basin, favorite map, which has those mountains on one side, and then ocean at the top.
Kind of interesting with the addition of the ocean tiles.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there might be a little bit of naval combat, or I mean, the more important thing is just coastal movement. Although I guess there are a couple city sites. You could definitely take the north coast and use that for fast movement.
Yeah, and anchoring to put those units in a weird spot is pretty powerful.
It's like,
Oftentimes, I feel like the duels in Old World can get pretty dug in with the fortifications. So it's kind of nice to see that blitz available.
yes, lately so far the tournament games have been pretty stabby.
Oh,
People
that's
have
great.
been attacking early and often. We're seeing combat as early as major combat as early as turn 30, and some scout shenanigans as early as turn 10 sometimes. Yeah, especially on the square maps where you're really close. This game should be a little more. They're only about 47 tiles away, so probably expect collision around turn 30, turn 35, something like that, depending on which way they expand and settle.
Are
It's
they
wide.
on choose factions after starting?
Yes,
So both.
after
Okay,
starting. Yep, they're both on pick later. Sabertooth said Blaj got to pick the map, and then Sabertooth gets to pick whether who picks first. Sabertooth decided to let Blaj pick first, so we'll see Blaj, who's on the left. He'll get the first pick of a nation. We do have unique nations on, so we won't have duplicate nations, which makes casting a little better. Blaj in the west and Sabertooth in the east. And hello to Fluffy Bunny and some other folks in the chat as well.
are these vertically mirrored? Is that how the
This is
map works?
this is mirrored horizontally. So right down the middle, we've got the mirror, the Scythian sites in the middle of the map, and then it's primarily
Oh,
identical
sorry, horizontally. Sure.
with
Just the cut line is vertical in the middle. Got it.
yeah, the cut line is vertical. Yeah, so most resources are mirrored. There's a couple of variations where we've got wheat and salt in the middle, and then slightly different game distribution, but largely the same. Some nice juicy sites here. We got a quadruple marble site at the mountains to the south. That looks like an incredible site. One of those
Very
marbles, I
juicy.
guess, might go to the west site. Lots of fur. Feels like this wants to be a hunter map, although of course the players can't see that because all they see is what they see in the starting location, which is, I guess, a wheat and a cattle. So I don't think they even see that marble because it's hiding behind the hill.
Yeah, it's very different seeing all of this. Is there a way to see with just the player's view?
Yes, so if you alt-click in the nations view, you can toggle between what player vision is. And then after the game starts, if you click to the timeline screen, you'll be able to see what players have revealed. There's unfortunately no easy way to see apart from that, but it's always going to lag one turn behind what they've revealed.
Gotcha.
Right
Show
now
me
it's
that. I'll
just,
click again on your stream.
so alt-click here and here on nations.
Okay.
That's the nations tab right there. Yep. And yes, Sinumumi, this is a dual-wide coastal rain basin. I think we have 8 turns of simul play before they go to turn-based. It's very rare calamities. Starting techs are on, customized leaders are on, no ancient ruins, no undo, no show crits, and a slow turn timer. And we had 30 people sign up for the tournament, which is pretty exciting to see. So lots of folks, some of them, this is I think their first MP game or like one of their early MP games. But lots of skills translate over from single player. So we've seen some great matches already. And looks like Blaj is choosing to move his settler slightly to the right. And then is going to settle here. Let's see what he chooses. And he went for Hati with a landowner start. So he'll definitely be able to buy tiles. We might see an early Judaism as well. So we see at least one cattle. And then there's another cattle to the south and some sheep. So definitely, if he wants to get early ranchers, he can. And yeah, let's see what Sabertooth does.
I was very involved with the multiplayer community for a while, but I've taken a long break. So seeing this again is very cool. But I may be asking you some questions, especially
Please.
if anything has changed. So
Yes, there's been, as you know, lots of balance patches and adjustments and tweaks. The game keeps getting better. And yes, looks like Blaj has also gone with a warlike zealot for his opening, which is probably not peaceful intentions there. So
you said explain the new zealot functionality as a general.
yeah, so a zealot as a general can spend 400 civics and then enlist the next unit they kill within 3 turns.
Okay, so there's no enlistment without civic spend.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's no longer a 10% chance. Yep. Yep, and players will start the timer on turn 2. They've agreed. And it looks like Sabertooth said he's going to pick Egypt, so let's see what he picks for his starting leader. And also enlisting, he fully heals the unit, as Mumi points out in chat as well. So it's no longer you enlist something that is like 5 HP or something. Go ahead.
Gotcha. That's a very aggressive start then with -1 science and then the 4 courage on that leader. That leader is not an economy-based leader whatsoever.
No.
Almost no economy bonuses, right, at all?
None really. I guess the best one would be rushing state production. If you get a state religion, which is of course locked behind a lot of civics, you'll be able to rush with training. So that potentially can speed up your economy, rushing specialists out anywhere that you have a state religion, but of course requires you to get a state religion first, which is a tall order. And looks like he's moving his warrior out here. He's got 1 order left. Curious to see whether he's going to sign his general. I would expect signing the general on that leader to be able to clear this barb camp since he has spotted it. Got a scout move to the north and the warrior move here. Let's see what he does. And I'm hopping back over to perspective for Sabertooth. Sabertooth is going Intelligent Scholar with Egypt as Sage's start. So a very, very, very eco-friendly, tech-wise opening. So already we have a double science, 19.5 science for Sabertooth and 9.3 for Blaj. So Blaj is on a timer at this point. He needs to go kill Sabertooth before superior tech makes that impossible. So hopefully we'll see some forward settling and aggressive motion towards him, or alternatively mass expansion into power. And indeed, Blaj did assign that general. And if you click on the unit, you can see how enlist next skill works. 400 civics, so a little bit out of reach right now. And stone cutting for the first tech for Blaj. And of course, Hati starts with ironworking and husbandry administration. And then for Sabertooth in the east, we are going divination. And of course, Egypt starts with ironworking, labor force, and stone cutting. And looks like he got trapping from sages as well. So no big navigation or phalanx, which can happen with sages sometimes as Egypt. So trapping just 80 civics. So that's the downside of the sages cap. The upside of the sages cap, of course, is each specialist gives you 1 extra science. So you're probably going to be building a lot of specialists in your capital.
That marble is going to be pretty high priority. If how are you saying the? I was saying Hati, but how are you saying this instead? What is the actual name of that faction?
Hati and Egypt.
What is Hati? Okay, cool.
Hati, yeah. Hittites are Hati. Hati, I think, is the formal name of the nation. We have a good luck H fund from Sabertooth. Yeah, that marble is going to be really nice for sages. Probably expecting to see that improved pretty soon. And we got a military move out here, but no general assigned. He doesn't have any generals, but I guess he could have taken tough, maybe. It might be hard for him to clear this site before a barbarian spawns.
Interestingly, that marble is also going to be good for the zealot leader, right?
Yes.
Especially if it's upgraded early. That's a pretty nice source of civics.
Yes, absolutely. Which will, yeah, the quarry itself is 2 civics, and then of course you can put a stone cutter on it, which will give you an extra civic a year.
And that is a rural specialist, right, for the landowner bonus that he did
it'll be twice as fast. Exactly.
And interestingly, his leader has also headed straight down towards that first barb camp, as you pointed out, but just southeast of that is 2 more marble. So I wonder if this zealot strategy will pay off with starting early marble and finding 2 more marble very soon. Kind of an interesting setup for seeing how strong that is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he will be able to clear this before the barb respawns. So that the threshold is if you can find your second camp and hit it at turn 2 with something that gives you at least 10% extra damage. And his Zealot does 13% extra damage. You can clear it in 3 turns. Unfortunately for Sabertooth, he did not assign a general or upgrade his unit, so he will not be able to clear it before another one spawns, so he's going to have to deal with his second barb spawn, which can be a little awkward. Usually players will settle, bring settlers down to protect whatever unit there so that it doesn't die. Yeah, he should be able to clear this, but he'll get a spawn, and Blaj won't. Just hopping between the two because we're in Simul at least for these couple turns, looking at some scout moves and harvests. The warrior continues to hit the barb camp. Wheat is going to finish, expecting marble to be improved next, or also cattle actually is a good option as well because he did start with husbandry as Hati. Here for Sabertooth, continued scouting, continued whacking on the barb camp, and that wheat is also going to finish. And Scholar gives him pretty significant science because he's a Sages. Sages, of course, start with an archive, and with a Scholar leader, the archive gives 2 extra science. So he's getting already 8.4 science out of his capital and 23 overall. We're on competitive mode, so +4 and modest 6, and then the founder itself is getting 4.8 for that science. And he's starting the marble next, because he doesn't have cattle within range, and also does not have husbandry anyway. Probably will get the game up and running next. Continues to whack that barb camp. Unfortunately, he'll get another spawn, so expecting that settler to move to the southwest, and then over here on Blaj's turn, he just cleared the barb camp before one spawns, so he's a little ahead tempo-wise here. Another advantage for Zealot and Hati, as Siamuni points out in chat, is Hati's nation bonus is that they get an extra 2 civics in every city. So that gives you very nice passive civics production everywhere. So a fast expand into, like if you have 10 cities, that's 20 extra civics you're just getting passively, which is a lot. And of course, that's scaled by all city modifiers as well.
You know anything about either of these players? Have you seen many of their matches or
No,
seen them at all before?
I have not. I have not played either of them, and I have not seen either of their matches.
It's kind of exciting then, because
Yeah.
one of the things that happens in a small multiplayer community is a lot of times strategies aren't even thought of or tried. You know, it's very easy to kind of find the meta that's working for a small group of players, and that kind of can dominate. So I am curious if bringing people in who haven't played a bunch or aren't well known in that community, if they might come up with something cool. And I mean, this is certainly synergetic. I was a little worried initially of the difference in tech abilities for one versus the other, but this is a very synergetic start, as you're pointing out, between the race, the marble start, and then also the leader chosen, which is interesting.
Yes, we've already seen some innovative and creative strategies and unexpected strategies. A lot of skills do translate from single player, and so people have been trying all sorts of interesting stuff. Lots of schemer starts that we've seen. People abusing educated schemer, which gives you 6 wisdom, and then putting it on a general and critting things with it. We've also seen some creative starts with zealots. Lots of zealot action. The very first game of the tournament, which is an insane match back and forth, saw great use of the zealot enlist ability to hold a rush. Basically 3 or 4 units were enlisted and flipped over, which obviously stopped the rush. Yeah, so I just need to kill 1 unit and then it's on my side. And
it's wild that even at 400, that's something you can be using regularly. That seems like such a steep civics cost to me.
Yeah, I mean, they just had a big civics bank when the rush came, and they used it for enlist. And took the rushers' best units. So it was like, okay.
Can you show me again the mechanism by which I can see what the players explored, specifically in this case, top left or left side player?
So if you click the timeline screen, you should be able to see what has been explored here. And then what's lit up on the screen is what is vision of, what they have vision of. It'd be cool if they did a slightly different shading. Maybe we can file a request, have maybe slightly foggy, although then it'd be harder to see the map. So I'm not sure that's great.
So they just missed the 2 marble to their southeast. Then that's
and
very interesting. I wonder how impactful the scouting will make this game in the end, or will be to this game.
It is always really interesting how much the game hinges on the direction you scout and how you scout. Sometimes you'll miss a site, or you'll miss something critical, or you see it. So that is it. Things definitely change, and Egypt obviously is scouting slightly differently, and has seen that marble. So we might see settlement there, and he's currently dealing with that barbarian that was left over, so a little more awkward for him. And we're getting a warrior, and both went riders second. Riders is changed a little bit now. Riders cap gives you the seat gives you 2 orders a year, And now you can just import horses, elephants, or camels into any of your family cities. It's just a thing you can use just once. I believe it's just once, right? Like you can't import it into any city. It's just you import that animal just
Does
once.
it
Go ahead.
and does it remove from the existing city that it imports from, or is it essentially a duplicate?
What it does, it doesn't import from a city. It just puts a project, and then you have access to that particular thing. It doesn't put anything in the map or anything. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So he probably won't use import horses here. Of course, Hati's you both actually have you used with horses. Um, and looks like he's got, and it also starts with the scout. So he's getting some double scout action, as is Egypt as well. And presumably he's going to find this next city site here to the southeast. And then Egypt is still dealing with a warrior and also has his second scout, slightly more order constrained. Looks like actually slightly more. I think they're both around plus 12. Yeah, plus 11, plus 12 orders. So still pretty tight order wise right now. Egypt opted for admin and did improve that at Marble. Go ahead.
Talk to me a little bit about the changes in events. So I'm watching again on the Hadi side, the leader attached as a general get a little low in HP here. There's two barbs there, one of whom's a thrower as well. So they're going to be taking
Yeah.
multiple hits a turn. Is there still the chance to lose your leader from an early event from getting low on a unit?
You can definitely lose your leader from dying on a unit if the unit dies. I think there might be still chances for getting injured, although some of those might be turned off in competitive mode, which we're in. Fluffy, I think you're in chat. If you know more details of those would love to know. I haven't seen like getting a leader injured or blinded. I think a lot of those events did get turned off in competitive mode just because it's very, very painful to get a random blind from a barb throwing spear at you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was talked about and had started when I last played, but I wasn't sure quite which ones had gotten adjusted and which ones had been decided that were just fine. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
Mohawk's been very responsive to the community. If people are like, "Hey, this doesn't feel like a great event for competitive mode because it's incredibly swingy," it'll get turned off.
I
Um,
really liked that as a nice solution to keeping events as part of the gameplay and at the same time making it keeping in the balance. I thought it was a really nice way to have competitive versus non-competitive events.
yeah, so up to 25 science for Egypt and 10
10
for
on the other
Hati.
side. I know it's
So
wild.
well, I'm expecting we're going to see Stone Boost. Let's take a look at the wonders that are available. There are pyramids available, so I'm expecting Egypt to grab that, as well as Ziggurat, both very strong wonders. Then we have some new wonders from the Wonders and Dynasties expansion. The Jerwan Aqueduct, which pairs very well with Sages, assuming he can get a mountain or a volcano, because it gives you free farmer specialists in every farm. So that's basically 5 free farmer specialists if you can get the right spot for it. The Yazelakaya, which is very powerful for Hati, because it scales your civics in all your cities with the state religion. And of course, they already have that +2, so it's scaled harder. Necropolis, which gives you just a flat 3 civics per year per pagan religion. So you could see, maybe we'll see a polytheism Hati with Yazelakaya and Necropolis for real civics powerhouse. And then Jebel Bakal, which gives you temples, Apadana, which saves money, and then Museum, which is a big science wonder because it gives you plus 50% science in your city. So expect that. And then, of course, we have some of the strongest wonders of the game, the Heliopolis, 1 order per shrine, and then the Colosseum, which just spawns a swordsman every 10 years and gives you 1 training per population. Both of these are very powerful game-defining wonders, so we're curious to see whether either player will push to Legendary or if we'll even see the game go that long. But they are there as threats.
A lot of new wonders. That's pretty cool as well.
Yes, they
At
added
least new since
16
I played
more.
last.
So
Yeah, that's great.
there's still a limit of, I think, 13 wonders in any given game. So because the pool is larger, you get a lot more variety. That's not like pyramids don't show up that often anymore. And it's just, yeah. And as you can see, we've got just 1 wonder at strong and a bunch in legendary. But yeah,
Almost no investment in culture on either side at the moment, though. I think the
not
highest I'm
yet.
actually seeing is 3 per turn out of the cap of
Yeah,
Egypt.
not yet, not yet. So wonders, of course, will help with that. Curious to see what Egypt will pick tech-wise here. They did get the stone boost. They do have the stone in the bank to make pyramids, should they desire. They just need an arid tile. They've started their shrine here in their rider seat, so maybe they're going to expand borders towards those camels and also get those arid tiles so they can start pyramids. Hati, meanwhile, does not have the stone for pyramids, but of course has a landowner seat, so they can just buy tiles towards arid if desired. Looks like they pulled back their warrior to heal. You were right. They were not going to be able to clear that camp. And they're building another warrior out of their rider seat. And looks like we are now on turn-based instead of simul, which will be a lot easier to follow along the action. So like it's Hati's turn. Let's see what they do here. No events. Pretty good scouting. Vision, they've sort of mostly gone towards their opponent as well. The double scout kind of gives you great vision. Some harvesting of marble. And regarding leader injuries, Fluffy does say he wouldn't be surprised if they're disabled. We haven't seen them lately. There is if your leader gets killed by your opponent, there is an event for that where you can either go down fighting or run away, and that will kill your leader. But I mean, that seems thematic if you have your leader as a commander. I had that in my game, or as a general.
I'm interested to see that the Hadi player is spending so many orders harvesting. I see they don't have a lot of units out right now, so maybe it's a little bit of an order float that they're just dealing with. But it seems I'm curious as to why they care about the marble early. None of their build right now suggests that marble is a very important resource for them. So why the focus on harvesting it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely favor culture harvesting. I think culture harvesting would be really great just to speed up developing. Like I would love to see a cycle between these honey and the salt. Although I think the salt will go to Adana. So maybe those two, and then yeah, I can't reach the pearls right now. I agree with you that like probably harvesting the marble might not be worth it. It's just 10 stone. But they do have a lot of orders. I guess they're just waiting for that next warrior to come out so they can clear that barb camp.
I guess I should start literally referring to them by name. So also Blaj does that Hadi player with no governors assigned right now, which is interesting to me. They do
Yes.
have a judge available, right? And with all the gold resources around that they've been harvesting, the double camels around them, it does feel like. And then I suppose if they get the fur and the salt have gold attached to it, right? Yeah, it does
Yeah.
feel like they might be able to get some rushing going if they were.
If they get that culture to developing, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
Oh,
can
it's
now
true. They're
assign.
just waiting on that culture too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can assign generals or sorry governors right from the start to any city, which is kind of nice. You don't need to wait to build that garrison. Hati has a scout over on Egypt's side of the map and is watching what they're doing. So they've met them. They have not declared war, but slightly better vision for Hati than for Egypt as well. Egypt has they know where each other's capitals are because they are revealed when you meet the nation, but slightly better vision right now for Hati or Blaj.
And actually, with the double, I've forgotten what we call the non-player faction races in this game. But with the double neutrals, both being horses in the center, like that's quite a nasty set of units to move through. So it might make this, if Blaj was looking for early aggression, it might actually slow it down a bit with so many mobile ranged units potentially getting in his way.
Yeah, although conversely, if you do go spears, which you're probably going to want to go because you know your opponent has a unique unit that is a horse, spears just annihilate horse units, so that might actually be easier to clear some of those spots. But of course, if you walk out uncarefully, you can definitely get swarmed by horses coming out of the fog and killing you. So yeah, I mean, these are going to be pretty contested sites. The northern site, sad neither player has hunters because oh my god, that northern site. 4 game, 3 fur.
Yeah.
It's like a hunter dream. I definitely need to spend some
I
more time.
like
Yeah,
Blaj's decision to focus on that southern site. The leader has just moved out again, still just alone,
yeah,
no second unit yet still.
yeah.
But
It's
it
two
does make
years
a lot
away.
of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 years away. He
Well,
did start a build right away with the
oh
warrior as
wait, the
soon as he
warrior,
found it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he is getting that settler. He does have the free city site up here by the volcano with just pearls. Not very many good trader resources.
I like this Egyptian start too. I haven't been paying too much attention to the tech stuff here, but that much tech combined with the quote unquote free units is very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes, you can use that for power spike, and indeed, he just did get a free worker because he presumably he's made contact with his opponent. His opponent is already primitive because he's a zealot versus scholar, and has gotten that free worker instead to save cycle. Curious to see whether we're going to see Hati actually block Egypt's free city site. His scout is here and is visible. He knows where the free city site is because it's the mirror of the map. He could put his scout here and then force Egypt to pull warriors all the way up here, which is at least a force march to reach and delay that settler. And he doesn't have any other clear city sites. So that might be some interesting counterplay from Blaj. Even if it's just a turn or two, he'll force wasted orders. That warrior will have to come north instead of going to clear barb sites. So curious to see what happens.
Can
Because
you
yeah,
update me on how the scout being invisible in forest has resolved over the while that I've been since I've been playing?
yeah. So scouts are still invisible in forest. and they do still get bumped. They've changed it a little bit. Now they're just going to get bumped to another tile and be invisible. And then with the next patch, that invisibility will go away in 5 turns. So you can no longer have just perma-invisible scouts if they get bumped, which is a nice change. And they no longer teleport from forest to forest. So they're continuing to improve and refine that.
So to be clear then, so if you chop the tile the scout is on, it gets bumped to an adjacent tile, or it just gets, you said it doesn't teleport from forest to forest, so where does it go?
It just gets bumped to an adjacent tile.
Gotcha. Okay.
But stays invisible. And then with the patch in the next main patch, which I think is 2 weeks away, it'll be only invisible for 5 turns. Right now it is perma invisible, which folks have given feedback feels a little not great, because then you can just have a scout that's perma invisible. You can't move it, but it just, yeah. So,
Yep.
All right, back
Interesting
over.
to see this double shrines coming up on Egypt.
Yes, I presume he's trying to go for Zoroastrianism, and indeed, he looks like he's going to sit on that free city site. So Blaj is putting his forward scout, locking out that city site, which is going to force Egypt to pull his warriors north, which will require at least a force march. They are not in range naturally. Unfortunately, oh man, the scout will be able to escape because the warriors can only do 7 damage to the scout. So the scout will live with 1 hit point and block
Nice to
for a
see.
turn. Yeah.
Nice to see harassment in a 4X game. It's not
Yes, so
something
we
you
got some
often see too
harassment.
much of.
Yeah, harassment on turn 11. So, yeah. And then the second warrior is coming out here. Basically, both players have identical production queues, settler into warrior. And yeah, I think we're going early shrines for Zoroastrianism. I think Egypt wants that religion, which makes sense given their pretty big tech advantage, 10 science to 20, 25. Sages Scholar is the best science start. And of course, Intelligent Sages Scholar as well. And also got Warlike. And then Bold on his, he got Bold on his, on the Zealot. So the Zealot is going to do some work down here, clearing this camp. 10 damage, thanks
Talk
to
to me
the...
what about what Hadi can do with their such high training rate this early. So, all right, we've got the Zealot potentially stealing some units when they do clash, although that may not actually occur even in the lifespan of this leader, especially with the, this is, as you say, a small map, but it's still quite a few turns in between their frontal cities each. He hasn't utilized that yet. I suppose he doesn't have 400 for the first time yet, but stealing barbs can't be a particularly good use of that. So what are we going to see likely? What's the best way you can leverage this early stockpile of training rate or stockpile of training to do something?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We've got plus 123 training from Hati, thanks to Zealot, and plus 38 from Egypt. So I think the best way to leverage the training itself would be to get state religion as quickly as possible. Thanks to landowners, he can easily get double rancher and get Judaism, and then found that religion. And then if that religion spreads, he can rush in any city that's developing with training, which is a great way to get specialists up, units up. I think that's kind of like the classic Judaism Hadi play, and indeed he is starting a rancher in his capital, so he might be going for Judaism there. He does have another rancher available.
In this game. I'd forgotten how much of the tech is not just tech, right? So in a lot of games, you're going to see religion either be an accumulation of some sort of thing that triggers it, or a tech to get there. But I forgot there are multiple ways to reach religion in this game. How does state religion work? Is that not locked behind a tech? Is it just a civics
It's
cost?
400 civics, yeah. So once you have
Just
a religion, the one that is locked behind a tech is if you want a pagan state religion, you need the divine rule law, which is unlocked at
Gotcha. That's what I was thinking of.
Citizenship. And also clerics got changed, so they actually now start with divine rule, although we haven't seen a clerics founding here, although Egypt in theory could do clerics for their third city instead of landowner. We'll see what they do. And looks like he's ignoring the scout, or maybe he doesn't even have vision of the scout. Looks like he doesn't have vision of the scout. So he doesn't know that Hati is camping his city site and is instead moving down here to clear this quadruple marble or quintuple marble or whatever this is marble site. Looks like it's actually just... I would honestly love to see landowners being founded down here because it'll give him a landowner seat that can just buy out all tiles to get that marble and make this like an insane Quarry Town, USA or Quarry Town, Egypt, as the case may be. So he's got his second warrior over here on Blaj's side, trying to follow along the players, and is clearing this barb camp, and is still blocking that city site. Doesn't know that Egypt is settling the other way.
Another decent use of a scout, especially if you don't have a ton of orders. It's in range to escape later, and at the moment is doing a pretty nasty job of slowing down potential Egyptian expansion. I'm actually really interested in seeing this import camels being done in the Rider City for Blaj. On the other side of the map, suppose we can switch back. Tell me about that. So you were explaining the mechanic to me before. So this presumably means by importing camels here, they'll be able to build camel-based units, of which there's just the one, right? Just the camel archer.
Yes, I am curious about this as well. I wonder, so import used to give you, it changed maybe a couple months ago, so it used to put the actual resource on the map. Now it just gives you the ability to build it in the city as a project. I'm not sure why he's importing camels. That is definitely,
Because
that
camel archer is
is,
very late in the tech tree. That's land consolidation to get to actually be able to build camel archers. Is there a melee camel unit? I've forgotten.
nope, it is just that. He also got a
Okay.
free worker in his capital from tech, which is an interesting choice when you're at 11 science. That's a very expensive worker in terms of
Yeah.
research turns. Curious to see what he does tech-wise here. He is pretty far behind in tech at this point. Um,
Yeah.
he's improving those
Okay.
horses, so I would expect a rancher. I'm not really sure what's going on with those import camels. Maybe
We'll
he
see.
wants to do some. I mean, camel archers are very good against mounted units, and he can expect his opponent to have mounted units because Egypt's unique unit is mounted. They are camel, which is plus 50% strength versus horse units. So a 5 strength unit is effectively a 10 strength, or sorry, 7.5 strength unit. So pretty powerful. He's continuing to scout up in the north and harvesting, and looks like Egypt Scout is hanging out this furs. So Sabertooth is starting to get some vision here. And then some continued camp clearing down in the south. Let's see, hop back over to Egypt. Egypt dealing with the city site. Fortunately, we'll declare it before it turns into an outpost. That outpost event is so frustrating because what happens is the camp upgrades and then the unit that's injured moves out and a new fresh unit that's higher
Oh
strength
no.
moves in. So good timing there because that could have been really frustrating. And he did start pyramids in his rider seat as expected. He got that shrine and has started pyramids and is continuing to pump out a settler and finishing up that second shrine.
Yeah, there's an interesting downside of the scout being placed up there, right? Although it's interesting to see it blocked, they didn't choose the more valuable site, so that block is less likely to be useful. You know, the Hadi player did have the knowledge from their own side of the map where the marble city was, which is going to be a high priority for anybody. Essentially, it's a very strong resource, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think he wouldn't have been able to block the marble site though because there were barbs there, right? So this was the only site they could block because it's the free city site.
oh, because it was the open one, is why you
It's
think
the
they went
open
there.
one, yeah, yeah. That's the
Yeah,
only one he can block, and it's totally fine to just drop a scout there
sure.
and see what happens. Let's see. He's continuing to scout around a little bit here. He is clearing this site, moving into the forest so that presumably this other warrior can come over here and clear. He does have a zealot, so no risk of dying there. So he's cleared that. Does he have a settler for it, though? I don't see a settler. So no settler. He's going for that early rancher, but he doesn't have a settler to settle this. So a little bit of advantage here for Sabertooth because Sabertooth's doing what you'd like to do, which is you have a settler very soon after you clear a site, so you can just keep settling and clearing, and of course heal your military units.
Although there's some benefit to the rancher, right? And increased growth rate for the faster settler after. Although I agree the timing for the next city is going to be painful, even if the settler builds a little faster right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's prioritizing the religion, but I think I would have preferred to see the settler build before the rancher. And you're right that there is benefit in getting it for the extra growth to speed up future settler builds, but I think the tempo of having an extra city is good. Oh, I guess no, they're on this. He put his settler in the northeast actually, so that he cleared the site, but settled here on this patron site, which pearls. It is a precious resource, so you will get the benefit there. So that could be interesting to see as a culture pump. So we went for patrons as his final city. The other option for Hati there, I'm blanking on the third. Oh, traders would have been the other option. Could have been a very interesting trader site, although there aren't very many. In fact, there just is those 2 pearls. So not really a very good traders map. I guess not a very good patrons map either because I don't see any precious resources apart from those pearls either. I don't see silver, gems, gold anywhere. So yeah. Egypt over here has cleared and settled a sage's site, so they are not settling their third family yet.
That's
Instead, they're
interesting.
like, we're going to
Talk
get
about that.
sages. Yeah, so you can do this. The penalty is, of course, you do take extra discontent from not enough family seats, just temporarily until you've found your third family seat, which is not really noticeable. I think his thinking here is, I want 4 specialists on this marble, and Sages gives me an extra science per specialist, and this is going to be an insane civics pump. Sages family also gives me a base extra rate of civics because Sages starts with 2 civics per year per family. So this is just going to be a civics pump. and we're just going to build lots of specialists here. I mean, I think the other option would have been to go landowners here and say, well, I will have this as my seat, so I'll be able to buy the tiles quickly, and then I'll have faster rural specialists, so you'll get the marble up to speed faster because I'll be able to buy it and then put specialists on it faster. I think either choice is valid, and if he wants to go clerics for his third family and doesn't want landowners, then maybe that's why he went sages. I'd be very surprised if he went landowners somewhere else at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
And
And
yes,
his marble are situated in such a way that he can daisy chain the northern ones that will grab the other, and the one
yes,
to the left is also pretty quickly available
yep,
from just any building there. So
yep,
going on the
yep.
right's going to take a couple, but not too
Yeah,
far.
yep, absolutely. You can definitely border expand there, thanks to Old Lord's deterministic border expansion. And I think the fun thing here
Well, I don't
that's
know
kind
about
of
old roads deterministic. Oh, you're talking what I'm talking with
yep, yep, yep,
buildings grabbing things.
yeah,
Sorry, I thought
yeah.
maybe there's a similar mechanic.
Yeah, there's no random borders just applying. The other thing to point out is the Jirwan Aqueduct Wonder. That is in the game. These are lots of lush city sites here. So if he puts the Jirwan here on this hill, he could then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 farms, 4 of which will be lush. And with the Jirwan Aqueduct, he will get farmers instantly in all of them, which will be 5 farmer specialists, which it's a sage's city. So that's an extra science. That's 10 science just from that wonder, plus of course the food from the farms and the farmers. So this is like an amazing Jirwan Aqueduct spot.
And do farmer specialists give growth as well as food, or just food?
They don't, just food. The growth comes only if it's on a resource, a
Gotcha.
food resource. But the Jirwan Sage's trick is a very nice one in terms of just suddenly you have a huge amount of food and science just from one wonder and some farms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was one of the final things one of the last things I remember happening before I kind of put this game away for a little bit was the increase of importance in food. When the game first released, food wasn't that useful later in the game, but it has gotten much more useful again, which I thought was a really nice change. So food late game becomes a big deal for a lot of the units needing it.
Yes, food costs have continued to scale, and definitely are like food. I think in the most recent game I played, food was going up to 13, 14 gold each.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
So
gets
in other
very
words,
expensive.
that strategy you're suggesting with that wonder could be quite strong this game as well.
Yes.
Hmm. Nice to see.
Yeah.
Nice to see these changes playing out.
Let me toggle. I'm watching a bunch of Egypt here, so he's clearing this barb site. He's got another settler on the way. He now has spotted vision of that scout, so we'll see if we see that warrior move up to try to pressure that scout off before that settler comes, because he doesn't have another site ready to go. Blaj's turn over here, since we've been focused on Egypt a little bit. He is starting a settler in his camp after getting that rancher, doing another warrior here, improving the horses, potentially for another rancher to get Judaism up and running. He's finished clearing this site, pretty injured on his leader warrior. Tech-wise, he's getting trapping. He has that literature from patrons. Curious to see where that will be assigned. Would love to see it assigned to his capital, or potentially to the rider seat to get a little bit of culture there.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. He's been sitting on that too. And presumably he has a fair amount, with this amount of banked training, he could certainly be putting that into the
Yes,
city.
it's very easy to forget. So
Yeah, but also very important when you have so little culture per turn in your cities. It's going to be another at least 2, right? If not 4, I can't remember
yes,
now.
it's 2 and then plus extra 1 if the family
It is
lets
being
that.
assigned to his capital. His capital now
Yep,
has
he just put it to the capital. Yep.
yeah. So I wonder if watching, probably not, but
No, players should
funny
not
if
be watching the
it's
caster
just the
stream.
commentating, right? Like
Yeah.
the exact timing of that.
Players should not be watching caster streams.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is in the rules. Do not watch the caster streams during the game,
No.
and wait for
No,
the
I'm not
game to be
accusing him of that, to
completed.
be clear.
Yeah,
Just
no, I
used
know.
at the timing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the scouts here passing each other in the night, or I guess in the day. And yeah, he's going for trapping. So still really not great in a science situation. 12 science versus 30. So if we look at the science graph, for example, we can see that there's a huge gap at this point. He's more than double the area under the curve.
Yeah.
And then military score, they are neck and neck, exactly the same number of units for both, 2 warriors, nothing else. Egypt's turn. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it does seem like Egypt's strategy, at least at this point, has been a little bit faster.
Yes, I mean, early science is very valuable until you run into an opponent that has lots of pointy sticks and you don't have any. So, of course,
But
if
no
you're
difference in pointy sticks at the moment.
no difference in pointy sticks at the moment, correct.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if we'll see a timing attack with a law push. The other thing for going back
Uh,
to the food conversation, Fluffy points out, since we now have disasters or calamities in the game, droughts can really, really hurt because they turn off all farms effectively to like one food each. So you'll need a big food stockpile. And of course, all your units take food, cities take food. Food upkeep gets worse and worse as the game goes on. So you can really get into a punishing drought, late game drought situation. We do have calamities on at very rare. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I was interested to see. I haven't been tracking where the Egyptian leader ended up, if it ended up as a governor or ended up as a military unit. And what I wanted to see was the actual experience difference between the two. If maybe if the general leader had ended up with more experience than the other leader. I'm not
Yep,
sure yet.
they are both. So they are both at the same experience level. I guess the general leader has gotten 6 extra XP. They're both on their
Yeah.
second leader, and looks like Egypt picked robust for the extra order. So they're going to have order economy, and then the zealot leader picked besieger as their third strength, and also has the mysterious sword item, which turns into something that you can hold that gives you plus 50% damage versus infantry units, which is incredibly powerful, as you can imagine.
Yeah, interesting to see. That's a very strong start with robust again. That's a nice, very powerful ability for those early orders.
Yep.
And tell me
Um,
about that. You've spoken about them almost as if they've been chosen along the way, especially with the starting one. You made a point of these starting perks on each of those leaders. How customizable are the starting perks? And then, as a follow up, how many options are they likely to be choosing from? So, how lucky is robust versus, for example, unlucky besieger?
Yeah, so they are playing with customized leaders on, which means you can pick your initial strength. So they did
Ah,
pick,
okay.
I think he picked warlike as his initial
Yeah.
strength, if I remember correctly, and then intelligent on the scholar. And then the rest, I think when you level up, you get a choice of 3 strengths to choose from. If you are a general, one of them, I think 3 or 4, one of them will be the opposite type. So if you're a general, one of them will be a governish trait, and if you're a governor, one of them will be a generalish trait. But otherwise, depending on your job, it'll level up. If you don't have a job, it'll just be a random pool. But yeah, so there is some randomness in terms of what's offered there. Of course, there's
So,
also
do
events. Go ahead.
you know roughly how many from the pool there are? So, how lucky is robust, which at least when I played last, was one of the, if not the single strongest trait. So,
Yeah,
I'm
robust got
curious
turned.
about. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I think they want to say that there's like I have not looked at the complete list. I probably should have this in the spreadsheet. So great feedback there. I want to say there's something like 20, 25 in the pool, maybe
Okay.
30ish. So robust is pretty lucky here. Robust did get tuned down. It is now just 1 extra city a year as a governor, and then all cities a half order. It used to be an order per city, but now it got tuned down to a
I
half,
think
which
at
is a
one
lot more reasonable.
God, I think at one point it was 2 per city, wasn't it?
It was
I
it was
imagining
two
that.
as it was 2 as a governor, and then an order per city, which was insane.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's no longer as insanely swingy.
Yeah. Well,
Looking at families here.
still a very lucky perk there, and
Yes.
not seeing besieger as particularly strong for the position of the board right now on
Uh,
the other general.
Besieger will make clearing barb sites clearer because they counts into urban, and every barb site is urban, so that will speed things up. We've got a choice of education on his heir. He could do philosophy, tactics, or commerce, or send him exploring. Family opinion looks like the riders are somewhat pissed, and the sages are very happy. Paganism. The head of paganism really hates the king. Looks like they got divorced. She's foolish. She's intelligent. She's vengeful. That is a problem if any of these families ever adopts the pagan religion. That is going to tank the family opinion by 196. So that's going to be a problem. But fortunately, he should be able to get Zorro here. He is starting an apprentice acolyte in the rider seat. I presume he'll start one in the state seat shortly, and he's clearing this site here. Should be able to clear it, maybe. Yes, he should be able to clear it before the third barb spawns, but will take a little bit of damage. A little light on military with just 2 military units. But fortunately, the map is far enough away that he's okay there. Family opinions for Hati. Everyone's pretty happy except for the landowners, who looks like their leader is just slothful, and slothful is negatives against warlike and bold. And then family-wise, he went tactics student, and Egypt went tactics student as well. So that's interesting. No, I didn't toggle over to Egypt, did I? Tactics, eloquent tactics student. I think there's an event for Hati for eloquent. No, they both did tactics students for their heir. So I think both are ready for gearing up for combat in 20 or 30 turns when their heir is probably inherit.
Tell me a little bit about the ability of the players to see the progress of their opponents. So I can see that when you hover one of the opposing faction as one
Yes.
faction, you can see that they're weaker or primitive. What does that give for the player in terms of knowledge? It sounds like there's tiers of that, since weaker and primitive are different
Yep.
words to describe. So what are the tiers, and how much does it tell the player they're within 1 or 2 units? Does it tell the player they're within X amount of power? How does it work?
Yeah, so power just goes off the military score graph. So it's if you're 33% ahead or 25% behind, it goes from similar to stronger to much stronger, and then weaker and much weaker. So right now, Hati sees that Egypt is stronger, and what's going on there behind the scenes is the military score is 120 versus 80, which is more than 33% larger there. And then science-wise, it goes. You can actually hover over the knowledge, and it'll tell you the graph here. It goes primitive, naive, competent, learned, and erudite. And similarly, uh, that's the aggregate science total. So comparing those two,
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the
So it's not
same for
like a set
slaves.
number of techs or set number of units.
No,
It's a combat score, which I'm not quite sure how that's calculated. Certainly, when I see
yeah,
one of the units has 4.2 combat strength, 120 is a very different number than 4.2. But so
yep,
it will give them a rough idea, but not a very
yep.
specific idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sort of RP version is like this is like what traders are whispering. Oh yeah, they've got a big army, or wow, your army's not as big as theirs, or wow, they're really advanced over there. This warrior is a little dangerously low here. Looks like he'll need to retreat next turn. Um,
Won't he die during the turn transition? Or did the turn
no,
transition already
it
occur?
just happened. Yeah, so the
Okay.
barbarians go after the Hati. So we're on turn 19 here. Aristocracy. So law-wise, no laws yet for either player. Presume Egypt is waiting to adopt laws behind their
After
pyramids,
pyramids.
which will
Yeah.
of course make it cheaper. They could adopt slavery or freedom right now, but presumably waiting there. Clearing this site here. They do have that settler ready to go. The scout got bored of sitting on the city site and has just decided to explore because like they're not even to come kill me. Curious to see if Egypt will march over and settle and reveal the scout and then potentially go kill it. Curious to see what he'll do as well for his third family, or whether he'll keep doing sages. Sages do get that free archive, which is powering his science, and with a scholar leader, he gets the extra two science per archive. So he's up to
Talk a little bit
30
about
science.
discontent. So there should be a trade-off, right? This missing the third
Yes. Yeah,
third
yeah, yeah.
seat this long, and the trade-off is, I believe, it's a detriment, and I think it's money and something else from these cities. But how much of a detriment will this path, as opposed to doing the standard kind of 1, 2, 3 of your
Yeah, so
seats, do?
there's a couple of detriments. One is you do get events do get legitimacy +4 legitimacy for founding a family seat. So Egypt only has +8, where Hati has +12. So there's a legitimacy. And then this discontent is just -2 per turn, but it is in every city, which will translate into negative family opinion because that's based on discontent levels per
Mhm.
city, as well as the effects of discontent. Discontent level 2 here, for example, is -10% science, +10% maintenance, and -40% opinion, versus discontent level 1 over here, for example, is -5% science, +5% maintenance, and -20% opinion. So it's 20 opinion per discontent level, and then the science also and maintenance scale by 5% each.
And it's from negative 11 to negative 13, the difference from weighting. So
Yeah.
just a pretty small increase for that weight.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to like not never found the third city, but like you can be relatively greedy, and like if you want to even found two or three, like it's not as long as you manage your family opinion, it's not the end of the world. It looks like he is pulling back that very injured warrior, and he has a third uh, unit, so he's now back to similar, although he sees his opponent is erudite. So he's going to try to clear the camp and is starting his rancher in the rider seat, which will expect Judaism. So going to expect, and of course, on the Egypt side, we've got the Apprentice Acolyte coming. So we're going to have, I think this is the first game we'll see two world religions founded pretty much at the same time, with Zoro and Judaism being founded probably in 4 to 5 turns for both players.
Can you tell directly if how many times a unit has been tutored? Since I see the first there at 13 on the Hadi side.
Not easily. I think you can try to count stats, but yeah,
Okay,
I don't know if Hadi is tutoring. It is pretty hard to remember. I don't think he has tutored. He only has one, and I think that Eloquent is from an event. I know there's a Hati Eloquent event, so I don't think he has tutored at all.
gotcha.
And Egypt has no courtiers for tutoring.
I saw a lot in your game that you were using the really cool system of being able to both put reminders on the map for where you want buildings, as well as the turn-based reminders for reminding yourself to take certain actions. I'm not seeing those as an observer in this game on either player. Is that because they're not utilizing that, or because I'm just not looking the right way? Or
You would be able to see them, but I don't think either player is using it right now. They would show up in these notifications at the bottom here, as well as on the map.
Gotcha.
So neither of them is using notes, sadly. It's for me, it's one of my favorite things, just because it
I
lets
love
me
that feature.
lets me remember what I want to do when I want to do it, and then I can just not try to hold all that state and just use the map as a way to remember it. And Egypt did found his third family, clerics. So he founded clerics on this double salt cattle citrus site. So that does give him the first law of the game, because clerics start with divine rule, which gives you one order per pagan religion, which is a nice little order boost. So he's getting a little bit extra orders, 2 orders, because he has 2 cities with the pagan religion.
So again, I haven't played in a while, so I might just be out of the loop here. But to me, this looks like Egypt is in a very favorable position compared to his opponent already at this stage of the game.
Yes, Egypt is at 34 science and 20 orders versus 12 science and 13 orders. Hati is capped on training and getting an insane 170 training a year, which turns into orders. So he's getting extra 1.7 orders from training. But yeah, Hati, I think, is not in good shape here unless they manage to do something. They're actually behind city-wise. So Egypt has out-expanded despite having a non-military leader. So I think the bet with a military leader is if you can turn that into fast expansion and then use that to get some sort of advantage or go attack your opponent, that can be very powerful. But yeah, Zealot starts are hard, I think, just because you are so hard behind in science, and Scholar is just insanely strong for that science. And curious to see actually whether it doesn't look like Egypt is making use of the double tutoring. They are tutoring their prince now, so that we do see a double tutor going on here. So he did that last turn. So he started the tutoring at 12, which unfortunately means he'll only get 2 tutors in, because you need to start at least one at 10 or 11. So you either go 10, 13, 16, or 11, 14, 17. So,
And
but he
double
did.
tutoring is because the scholar can tutor directly as well as a courtier?
Yes, so he actually is just doing single tutoring because he doesn't have a courtier, but it's just single tutoring off the. Oh no, I'm not sure what this
Screens and
no. Not sure what this no is from Blaj. My time ran out to move my scout. Oh no.
okay,
And he lost his scout? Did he lose the scout?
possibly.
My
I don't
time ran
see
out to
the.
move the scout.
I think there was a scout in front of the rider seat of Egypt. I think it's gone now since. Oh no, there's another unit down there. I think it's alive.
Yeah. The
To
scouts
the southeast
are
a bit.
both alive. He won't be able to move during my turn. Only military units are locked. Yeah, Yeah. Okay, he doesn't. He's not aware how tight works. Yes, you can. Tight means you can do worker moves, city queues, which you can do some cheesy shit with, sadly, and worker moves and scout moves, non-military moves. Okay, so kindly, Sabertooth did pause. Yeah. All right. So pyramids here in a bit. Uh-oh, this thing needs to heal. Okay, good heal, because otherwise I was going to die. So he's managed to clear this. And then he's got this warrior over here. Aristocracy on the way. Would love to see Egypt get phalanx because he's scouted some Numidians and some Scythians. So like this definitely screams get spearmen to deal with the barbarians. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of barbarians. That Scythian tribe is actually terrifyingly huge. And then just these vandals hiding off in the corner over here as well. But yes, Egypt, I think, is in a commanding position at this point. They are keeping pace, or actually outpacing their opponent in expansion. They are keeping pace militarily. They're similar, and they are massively outscaling their opponent on tech. So yeah, they like
And
Menifer
sadly,
is 8. Oh,
one of
he
the things
went.
we're hoping to see with that Zealot 2 not happening, right? That city is still not settled down to the south, so none of those 4 extra marbles are taken over by Hadi, whereas
Yeah.
Egypt has actually managed to get a number of them already in their borders and settled that sooner,
Yes,
despite not having that clear synergy, which is
as
interesting.
as long as the zealot lives, I think he's going to get Judaism in 6 years when this rancher completes, and a turn after the rancher completes. And then if he can make it his state religion, he does have the civics for it. That means as soon as he gets developing, he'll be able to rush with his giant training pool, which can really accelerate. So he needs to get to
But right now, even
developing.
that training pool not useful, right? I don't see him converting this. This seems to be overflowing every turn.
Yeah,
2,000 is the cap, and the overflow is really weak. I think money,
It,
if I remember correctly.
no,
Would it
it
lose gold?
overflows into orders. It's exactly the same
Oh,
as
it
if you
does.
bought orders. So
Okay.
it's not a terrible overflow because it's just orders. So training is like not a bad overflow. The civics overflow is
Okay.
bad because it turns into like, I think, science at a rate of like 100 to 1 or something horrible, like we're 10 to 1.
Yeah, I'd
So
forgotten exactly what they were, but yep.
yeah. Zealous ambition. He's getting ambition, produce 500 iron and enact 4 laws. Let's see what the ambitions are for Egypt. Egypt has 5 workers as an ambition and has already completed their first ambition, which was control 4 cities. So they also have a legitimacy advantage, I think 84 to 65.
Yeah,
So
and is it 20 or 10 for one order for
it is
legitimacy?
10. It is, yes, 10 legitimacy for 1 order.
Gotcha. And there's also happiness, right? There's some version. I can't remember
Family
exactly.
opinion.
Remind me.
It's a direct conversion
Family
to family
opinion.
opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
plus 75, which can make a big difference, especially if you get unlucky and have double rulers die or something.
Yep.
Because the scaling is both players keeping for families mostly cautious and pleased. So yeah, Hati definitely feels like is not in a great situation. So we'll see if Egypt can convert this early science lead into tech and science. They did manage to grab the pyramids, and the map is large enough here that there's a long way. Blaj did pick the map, by the way. It was his choice to go wide coastal rain duel, coastal rain basin duel. So
Tell
Egypt
me what
still,
that decision was. So you said this was one of the most popular maps, but what else could he have chosen? Could he have chosen a closer map, for example?
yes,
Like was wide
yes.
not one of? Okay, I see.
Yeah, the choices now are the 3 map types are coastal rain basin, continent, and inland sea. And then the sizes are either tiny or dual. Tiny is larger than dual. And then the aspect ratios are square, which is really close together, wide or ultra wide, which is really far apart.
I
Um,
see.
so yeah,
So he
if you want
chose
a
a
close
military
match,
rushing strategy and then didn't choose his opponent to be super close, and then okay.
yeah,
I'm trying to see if there's method to this madness or if this is maybe an inexperience showing its hand.
yep. Yeah, I mean, if you want to rush someone, you probably want to do a square for sure and a square duel, and maybe ideally continent because the water makes the map even smaller. So you're just smushed together, and you have like a 5 city site or 6 city site map where you brawl in
Hmm.
terms of just width of the map. But yeah, Egypt feels like a dominant position. The map roll with all this marble is also really helpful for them. He is getting festival here, presumably because he wants to get some citizens to like get those marble specialists up, and then clearing this out here. Although it won't lose that warrior, but pretty close there. And this warrior standing here. Some events for Egypt, the developing culture. Some wanton is actually a really good weakness because it gives you 2 civics at -1 discipline. I'll take that trade every day. And then he potentially can be happy to the Midians or get some XP. We'll see what he does. And also has, that's why he divorced his spouse. He has the fickle band, which gives him 200 civics. I think he got that after he divorced his spouse. But yeah.
Can you show me how you're viewing the events as they're happening for that player?
Sure. So I can click on the explanation to cycle through the events, and then after they choose an event, there will be a notification here that tells me what they chose. So let's
Oh,
see
interesting.
what he
Got
chooses
it.
here, and I'll show you. Yeah, these notifications are a great way to sort of keep track of what happened because unfortunately there's no way to like follow along. He'll be founding Zoro next turn, or turn after next after that acolyte finishes. Yeah, so pick some events, and then I think he's waiting. He's using his events last. Which unfortunately means I won't be able to see what the results are because it's no longer observing his turn. Yeah, granary finished here, so he's built a granary next to the wheat, which is a good choice considering he has a farmer there. Building a settler. Egypt has eyes here on his patron site. Really interesting choice to see patron build a warrior. I guess he just wants another military. Yeah. Other options. Traders there. Traders might be, I don't know, like either is fine. I think this is not the most amazing patron or trader site, but the advantage of the trader seat, I think, is you get a fair, and a fair gives you, it's a legendary building that gives you plus 50% money in that city. So given the way his economy is looking, like, would have liked to see trader, but especially since I think he's done a pretty good job of scouting the map and hasn't really seen any great patron sites. All right, so he's moving into clearing this other site down here with his leader. He does have some civics banked. He's getting that rancher for Judaism, so should have it in around turn 26 or so. So it's like 26 or 27. yeah, peaceful kind of expansion, but he's behind in culture, behind in science, similar on military. Not looking good, as you say, but still very early. It's only turned 23. Things can definitely turn around.
I don't think his heir got any tutoring either at the end of all that. Looking at those stats, I think those are just promotion stats plus base stats, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So unlikely that we're going to see a massive science turnaround from some super overpowered heir coming up from some nice tutor events and a nice selection. So
Yeah,
maybe just
they also went tactics as well, so it's going to be a military heir. Looks like he did have autonomous. So over here in Egypt, he did go autonomous city in Menifer, which actually isn't terrible because you do get +2 science per culture level from autonomous rule, or no, sorry, +1 science per population from autonomous rule, which maybe is why I guess the city's festivaling, which can be pretty nice. So Menifer is actually providing a lot of science for him, 8.4, which is a little almost as much as his capital. But yeah, he's at 44 science to 15, so tripling, almost more than tripling, almost tripling the science. And
so tell me
then
about autonomous city. I've never willingly chosen that option. So
yeah, so there's some event chains here. He got one. This one is the Zenobia event chain, so it gives you Governor Zenobia the Judge, who comes out very, very strong here. As you can see, she has 3 wisdom, 3 charisma, 2 courage, and 3 discipline. A bold and educated judge. You can actually move her around, which can be very helpful if you want to, for example, rush specialists in your capital or something, and you have the cash. And then there are eventually an event to get back out of autonomous. So if you don't particularly need to care about that queue, it can be worth dipping in, especially with the Zenobia event chain, which I think was added with Behind the Throne. So yeah, some of these event chains are sometimes worth exploring. There's also this new mechanic called the Grand Vizier that's available in Behind the Throne, which you actually can put the Grand Vizier, they effectively act as a governor in all your cities that don't have a governor, which if you have good stats on that Grand Vizier, you don't get to choose who you can assign a Grand Vizier. They offer themselves sort of as like a manipulative behind the scene vizier or like regent. And then all your cities will be scaled by that. You won't be able to rush. So if you have a judge Grand Vizier, you can't rush in every city. But yeah, it can be good. But of course, you lose control of your production queue with that, which is a big trade-off that I don't particularly love. But like if your Grand Vizier is like intelligent or something, where you're getting science out of all your culture, that can be a pretty big power spike.
how are the decision-making capabilities of the autonomous city for what it needs to be building?
They're
Do you,
okay. I mean, they're not great. As you can see, this one is currently festivaling because they like to party a lot.
well, a
uh,
festival doesn't necessarily hurt there. They have
yeah,
no places they can build specialists, and I would like to have seen a unit there, but I suppose there is already
yeah,
a unit in that. So
yep, yeah. They're okay. They will. I think they're pretty well balanced in terms
okay.
of it's
So are
it's
we
not
likely to see it, for example, make a marble specialist when this festival finishes? I'm be very curious to see.
possibly. Yeah, we'll see. So they
Okay.
they they have that 6 available. They potentially could do that. We'll see what happens. Let's keep an eye on that. But I think there's an event chain to get out of there. Okay, he's clearing this barb site here. 4 cities to 4 cities. Yeah, just that science gap I think is the big differentiator right now, where Sabertooth is almost tripling Blaj's science. Sages and scholars are really strong early. Siomumi points out in chat, I've had Autonomous City import horses while it had 2 horses in its borders, so it's definitely not
Not
perfect.
perfect.
So,
Yeah.
which I mean that
Yeah.
like it's a trade-off, right? You're giving up control. So it shouldn't be optimized because then there would be no downside to picking it.
Yeah.
It's
Nice to
not
see there's
definitely
a
not a
strong
mechanic I
upside there.
love. Yes, definitely not a mechanic I love personally. And it is indeed starting that stonecutter. So
That's pretty
Autonomous
cool.
City, good job, Autonomous City. Right, so he's starting barracks in his capital, which is interesting considering there's no horse in his capital. Yeah, so he's starting a barracks. The sage's seat. Maybe he wants that specialist. He is going for
So
monasticism.
the import event is not triggered. So it's not that I'm just still wrapping my head around it exactly. It's all of the rider families would be able to import the type they needed, right? Or at least one type they needed. But his capital, for example, won't be able to import. It won't have that action that
Correct.
available, right?
So
Okay,
yeah, if
that
I
part's
if I poke
available.
here into the rider seat, you'll see we see the import camels project, which has enabled
Mhm.
units with camels. Then we see the remaining projects are horses and elephants, because he's already done, and this is per all rider families. You just can do each project
Gotcha.
once, not per city, but just once per family. So you won't
So
be able to import camels anywhere
so the
again.
intent then is to make your military family able, at least the rider military family,
Yeah,
able to produce rider units regardless of what the terrain is like.
exactly. Yep. So
Yeah, that's
if you
cool.
if you need horses or elephants, yeah, camels definitely not sure what he was thinking with camels. That just might be inexperience.
But that
Or
definitely
maybe
means the barracks in Egypt's capital is not for the intent of getting horses some other method in that capital.
correct.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there will sometimes be events that you can randomly get horses, but I think they're like from culture or events, and like you should not bet on them. Like I had a
yep.
game, my game, I think I had only one city with elephants as Carthage, and then I got an event from culture to give me elephants in the exact same city I already had elephants. So, so I was
Yeah,
like, no.
yeah.
Yeah. Right, we'll
So
click
what do
through.
you, assuming this continues on this course, what do you see as likely from Egypt? So I think Egypt is going to be setting the pace a bit with their current lead, anyways. So I think it likely that Egypt will get the decision of, do I bring this to them, or do I try to make this more of either a point-based victory or some version of that?
Yeah,
What do
so
you see
Egypt.
Egypt doing from here?
So I think we're gonna see a 4 law push here potentially because he is up to 3 laws. He picked up freedom and centralization. He's now up to a dominant 50 science. He
And
does
four
have
law push here being, you're talking about his first tier of unique unit.
his first tier of unique unit, assuming he gets these horses. I would have expected to see the barracks in the rider seat personally,
Yeah.
um, and upgrading these horses. And like we're 3 years away from culture. He's getting monasticism, which will be his 4th law. He's not getting spoked wheels, so we're not going to see a chariot rush or anything. Yeah, potentially like, or you could just have a Rex strategy where he just settles the map. Um, Monasticism is very greedy here because he's detouring to get monasteries, but assuming he gets away with it, should be fine, right? Because then he'll have the dominant power of having monks and monasteries for even more science, and it doesn't look like Blaj is really expanding towards him. So we will see here.
Yeah, and despite that single barracks in Egypt, I mean, the rest of his build queue doesn't look particularly aggressive. It's a autonomous stone cutter, 2 workers, and a settler.
Yeah, and
So
so
he might be hitting the timing on his laws, but doesn't really seem like he's setting up for. I mean, I suppose he's still got. I can't remember if it's still locked behind Garrison and Stronghold or not.
it is. So he
Okay.
should be starting a garrison here because you can now just build. Once you have 1 law, you can build a garrison, and then you need a garrison to build a stronghold. So like
What do garrisons do now that they don't
they're
enable
just a half
governors?
order, half order still.
Half order. Okay.
My poor scout. Somewhere his scout died. The timer is stressing me. It's like Blaj is definitely a little stressed out over the timer. Um, I will mention to the players you can always extend the timer. Just extend the timer with the timer extend button. I'll figure out who I shared a screenshot of the button with so I can pick something from not this game to point out how to do that. I shared it with you, so I can just
There
grab
you
it
go.
from our chat there.
Nice feature.
Yes, but very easy to miss if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will potentially help because it looks like even the slow timer, Blaj is. I think this might be his first MP match.
Yep.
Can definitely be challenging if you're not used to it. And he did reply, "Ooh," so that's good to know. So hopefully we'll help him out there and make use of that banked time because he does have. I don't think was aware of it, so wasn't able to bank any time yet. So
I
he's
mean,
got
people are signing up even if they haven't played a bunch of multiplayer. I'm glad they
yeah,
felt that it was accessible.
yes, yep, and he's at dope, so that looks like an expression of joy. All right, and the Autonomous City is building that, and I think there's also happiness from Autonomous City, or I'm not sure how I got to happy. Maybe there were some events there, because that's +2 happiness. Interesting on that Autonomous City. So yeah, Egypt is going monasticism, which would be a 4th law, potentially very greedy. Could also see he is starting a garrison in that capital in the rider seat, and then he has a worker position over these horses. Although, he does have husbandry, so he'll be able to upgrade those horses. So yeah, I think we're going to potentially see a timing here. He might be able to rush if he banks enough civics somehow. Although pretty hard. Although if he goes towards sovereignty and get that bonus civics, that's 800 civics chilling out there. Might also see a 7 law timing, although he's not going to have the
Remind
culture
me
to
the
get to
secondary
spot.
resource on the Egyptian unit besides food for their unique unit. Isn't it wood?
I believe so. It is
They have zero wood
food,
income right now and
food
haven't
and
really
wood.
started harvesting.
Yeah. So
So
light chariot.
if that is going to be a rush, not only do they have to figure out the rushing part of it in terms of how they're going to fast build units, they also got to figure out how they're going to get their resources in shape to actually build any of those units. I don't remember
Yeah.
them being cheap.
Yeah. So light chariot is 100 food and 50 wood. So you can chop the wood with workers,
50's
of
not too
course,
bad.
for 20.
What is
So
the
that's
yield off a chop these days? 20?
it's 20 per chop. So like
Yeah.
this worker could go double chop here. Generally, you want to double chop unless you're thinking of using a lumber mill there, or there's a
Mm.
camp nearby. Because like who cares about it going to regrow, and it's just more order efficient to not have to move the worker back onto that tile. So you can definitely chop the wood for that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
but he's not running positive money. Only at 100 food, only at 50 wood. Yes, he
yeah,
can chop some wood for that and maybe sell it off again, but it's fairly order inefficient to do that, and there's just not a lot of that resource coming in. I don't know.
no,
It is possible that we see this, but it doesn't seem. A lot of times when you're going for a timing push, any sort of game, especially a 4X game, you're trying to get all your pieces to come together at once, right?
yes, at
You
the
you
same
have your
time.
barracks is up. Yeah, exactly. Your barracks are up by the time you get the tech to get the thing that you want to do, and you have the resources banked to start the building, so you can make that as time effective as possible. And I just don't see that happening in this empire right now.
Yep, he is starting a barracks here, opting to start a barracks instead of the horses, um, which makes sense because he's still going to have to build a stronghold, so he'll have time to improve the horses. He did finish this racks here. Honestly, also the players still have a lot of barbs between them, so like
Yeah.
it wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense to do. I think at this point a 4 law timing attack. I might want to see a 7 law timing attack if he can get to 7 laws. Assuming he does need some way of getting culture in this city. It might be interesting to see if he builds a Zoroastrian disciple and takes the oh no, Blaj, I didn't know I need labor force for Judaism. So
Uh-oh.
oh no. So he's like, why isn't ranching? Why isn't my rancher? Why isn't Judaism spawning? It does require labor force, yes. So so he does 2 ranchers but no labor force. So some inexperience here from Blaj's perspective.
Hmm.
I think they can unpause. Just disable that. Not sure what they're talking about. But yeah, so it definitely feels like Sabertooth here, despite this being his first MP game, I think, of any. I think he might have done some practice matches I saw in the Discord, so he's been trying to learn how it works. He was kind enough to sub in for a player who didn't show up, so kind of a late joiner for our tournament. But yeah. Oh, Sabertooth kindly just turned off this timer entirely, I think, so that's nice of him.
Yeah.
He was like, timer is off, so that way it's a little less stressful for Blaj. Hopefully Blaj won't take forever, but yeah. Players, of course, I think that the tournament rules are players can as long as they mutually agree to, they can change any setting that they like. So if people want to play without a timer, that's okay as well. It's really meant
Very
to
nice.
just
Nice to have the options.
Yeah, we want people just the goal here is fun, right? Like if you're getting stressed up by a timer, like if your opponent's okay with turning it off, as Sabertooth kindly is, can make it a little more welcoming. The goal of the tournament really is just to we think World MP is really, really fun and want to get more people into it. And it's been really delightful to just see people who are like, oh man, this is my first MP match. And it's so much more exciting than single player going into another opponent. Or I think the big things we've seen is like the eco play usually translates over pretty well from single player. But then the tactics, human tactics, are just a whole different beast, right? Humans will do all sorts of insidious, crafty things that the AI will not do to you. block your city site, or like do weird flanking attacks. Enlist your units when you're rushing them. Yeah. So he got the nice event to establish Zoroastrianism, which as a state religion. So expecting to see that once he has. I think it would have been fine with the extension. Should be fine. I don't know whether turning the timer back on will clear the extension, but hopefully the players will keep playing here. Settler coming out of this cleric seat. It's like 15 seconds. I've been missing every few turns. So yeah, looks like just a little bit. And he's getting a garrison in his capital. So really not sure about the barracks here, but the garrison, yeah, he still doesn't have the culture for strong. So
And also, he doesn't have horses in his capital, right? So
he
his
doesn't
capital's
have
not going to be able
horses
to
in his
build his unit
Yeah,
anyways.
correct. Yep.
So it's a bit of a question mark there. And I don't remember how the tile flipping works. I think it's just an action from a unit. Does it also cost a resource to tile flip from one city to another?
So the rules are you can't tile flip a tile that's been improved. So he wouldn't be able to tile
Interesting.
flip this cattle,
Okay.
for example, but he could get this camels. There has to be adjacency. And it doesn't cost money, but it does cost an order. I think it doesn't cost money, or does it cost money? I forget if it costs money for tile flipping. But the big thing, if you have different families, it will be plus 20 opinion for the family that you're flipping to, but minus 40 for
Ah,
the family you're flipping from.
that's cool.
So one cute trick
Can't
you
use
can
that
do,
much.
you can use it if there's the cute trick you can do. For example, let's say he founded sages on this blank tile on this open city site and wanted
Hmm.
to flip the pearls over here. Because they're the same family, there's no opinion penalty. So he could flip the pearls over there and just have a very useless city over here, but then get the pearls in his capital if he wanted that. So
But the point I was trying to make was, even with tile flipping, there's no way that horses are going to arrive in his capital. So
correct.
either he
There's
may be forgetting the fact that his unique unit requires a horse, so that might be a mistake coming into this, because it does seem strange to be building that garrison and barracks now in the capital, especially the garrison, right? Because the garrison, if it is just orders, as it seems to be right now,
yeah.
that's better spent almost anywhere else in his empire, right?
Yeah, 50 stone is a lot for 5 orders, or I guess 0.6 because it's next to the barracks. Um, yeah, that's definitely a curious choice, especially in a Sage's cap, which you generally want to really focus on science and specialists and not really be a military production site, just because that's not what the family's good at.
Yeah.
In theory, he could grab these horses by trading all these tiles over here, but that would be not really feasible because that would be a lot of orders and also would piss the fuck off the riders. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so not really a feasible path. Yeah, it's definitely a curious choice. And like he's very far away culture-wise, 68 years from strong in his capital, and even longer in the rider seat. So I don't think we're going to see UU, the 8 strength UU anytime soon here. And the timer is back on. So we went back to slow timer, and Sabertooth was nice enough to say, if you change your mind, we can disable it. So it's very, very kind
Egypt's
of both players. Go ahead.
leader is ill.
Egypt's leader is ill. Let's
Yeah, we
see.
might.
So we'll see
It's
if
a
he
pretty
gets
early
doomed.
death if that would be the case, 43. But
43. Ill is just a 20% chance of doomed.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully he'll be able to get that out. His heir is a tactician who's ruthless. So tactician stun is still very, very powerful. Let's take a look at over here at Hati, also a tactician, eloquent tactician. So we'll have both tactician versus tactician. So curious to see whether players will take advantage of hiding the ranged units in forest. There is quite a lot of forest between here, especially in the southern part of the map.
It's got a lot of everything between here and the other
Yeah,
side of the map.
yes, there's a long time before they collide. And yeah, Blaj, I think, does not use the extension here. So looks like he's settled landowners down here and landowners down here, and getting a stonecutter in his capital, getting a warrior here, getting rhetoric. So presumably he wants labor force so he can found Judaism. I'm sure frustrating discovery that he realized he could not do that. So it might be just a little bit of experience. Getting some farms here, economies in okay shape. Specialist on the marble, very reasonable as well. Attacking this very bold Egyptian scout in his borders here. I don't think it's worth enlisting the scout. Definitely not for 400 civics, but it would have been really funny. But I think the scout will just run away and hide here. Egypt will need to remember to do that. Very easy to forget. So let me toggle back over. Egypt does have the religion. Presumably we'll pick up the state religion once they get the civics for it. They have pyramids, so law adoption is cheaper. They do have aristocracy, so they have a choice of ambassador. There is one that does give 0.6 culture per city and 30 family opinion, which wouldn't really make too much of a difference, but a little bit of culture. I always like the high wisdom ambassadors. Although 0.6, maybe not with the civics. Show crits is off. Yes, it is off.
That science curve or a science graph is spooky though. If you look at if you're talking area under the curve, like
Yes, it is 55 versus 15, so he's approaching the quadruple income of science. So Blaj definitely has a huge science problem on his hand, exacerbated by that zealot leader. So yeah,
and old world's texts are such that a little bit of a science lead often isn't night or day difference. A lot of times that with the selection not being as straight as I picked this tech, I'm going for that tech directly, and a number of kind of side techs being useful in different ways. It doesn't necessarily equate to much of anything, but a 4 times lead is going to start to be really noticeable, especially for the tiers of military units, and those can be a big deal.
Yes, I mean, if you can unlock a 6 strength unit or even an 8 strength unit, or another change since the last time you played, it used to be that the free cards, like for example, free chariot, used to be on, let's see, where did I put free chariot? Free chariot, they used to be on the tech that unlocks the thing, if you remember. So like Spoked Wheel would have a free chariot card. They've now changed that, so they're not now on a different tech. And importantly, for some advanced techs, for example, longbow is behind bodkin arrow, but free longbow is on manor. And for the very high tier ones, you get 2.
Mm.
And I think the ones worth pointing out are Free Longbowmen, 2 8-strength units at Manor. And then Hydraulics has the Free Crossbowman, which gives you 2 Crossbowmen, which are 8-strength unit on the Hydraulics. And Windlass has a lot of additional requirements, so you can actually get a very fast timing. I think it's just 2,000 signs total to get to that. And obviously having 2 8-strength units walking around when everyone else is like 5-strength is very, very scary. And then your unique units also have cards as well. I think, where are Egypt's? Egypt's is behind Martial Code for Mounted Lancer. And then I think Light Chariot is over here actually behind Spoked Wheel. So you can get an early unique unit there. And I think the other thing with that huge science lead is you can kind of fish for these bonus cards because you're ahead science-wise. So like 4 turns to get a unit that's really strong can make up for your lack of military. In my first duel, I sort of leveraged that to like get units I didn't have access to, and use them to just sort of bolster my army. Especially like getting that horseman early for route can be very, very valuable.
Egyptian king is now severely ill.
Oh no! We'll see if we get doomed. So that is not the way you want it to go. So
what are we up to? So you said 20% on ill. What is severely ill to become doomed?
Severely ill is 70% chance of death. So we are not in happy times at this point. 12% chance of getting out. So yeah, very, very dangerous spot. We might see an early leader death.
What's the other 18% for?
I think nothing happens. You just stay severely ill.
Oh,
and then roll again next turn.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so over here in Blaj, his leader is still in great shape. Zealot works out every day, lifts.
What you want with your negative
scholar.
Live forever.
Yeah, exactly. He is clearing this site. Egypt does have a scout watching that as well. So yeah, let's see. Did he roll over to Doom? He did not. He's still severely ill. I don't know I'm not sure when it actually rolls over. He is starting another barracks in his rider cap in that garrison. Would love to see these horses improved as well. Which I'm sure will happen at some point. Just needs to remember to do that. He's getting a warrior here. Monasticism, very relatively greedy, but he's got good vision on his opponent. We can see what we've got here. He's pretty much explored the entire map, so very good vision, and knows that there's no risk of any. He's got eyes on his opponent's army over here, which is what you want to do. At least have a scout close to your opponent's army so you know where they are at all times. So specifically, you need to know if they are coming for you, because obviously the sooner you know, the better you can react. You don't want to just be sim-sitting in your borders and then you're like, hey, what's that at the edge? What the hell? There's an army over there.
I'm surprised at Egypt's lack of an ambassador, right? Is it a tech-related problem right now? I
think it's civics. He doesn't want to burn the 100 civics for it. He does have
3 families that are like within a single ambassador away of changing breakpoints, right?
Yeah,
what is the value of that again? Perhaps maybe it's not that big anymore.
It reduces maintenance cost and gives you. The big thing is military. Pleased is plus 5% strength, and friendly is plus 10% strength. It's definitely worth going to friendly before combat if you can, especially against your opponent, because like having your units be 10% stronger, kind of a good deal. Especially if you're for a military family. Like champion is very important to keep happy. If most of your production's champions, which it probably will be. Yeah, but I personally would have grabbed probably this oligarch because it'll make the oligarch happier, which will flip the sages for sure, and then potentially it'll bring the riders there. It'll save you money. It's 100 civics, and it gets you culture.
They're about to hit their religion tech, right? Which is going to be another law they're going to want.
Yes, they I think they do want to adopt Zoroastrianism for that state religion. Maybe that's why he was building barracks. He does have an ambition for control 6 barracks, although I'm still really questioning the barracks in the capital. Given the lack of horses there. We'd love to see another city founded, and he is starting that settler, so presumably we'll have something here.
He's got one almost done in his cap too, so that's 2 more settlers coming out. So still expanding, it looks. But he did take a long break. He got his 4 out before his opponent got 4 out, and now has gotten behind again.
Yeah, he's kind of stopped. This will be his 5th city. I don't think he has another settler, just that one. Or no, there's one down here in the south.
There's
right?
2.
Yep, 2 in the way. So curious to see what he'll found city-wise. There are horses here, so I would expect riders here. I'm curious whether he'll go sages here to do tile swappery, or like he'll just go riders here and import horses and then build this up as a military site. Kind of would like that, because like you do have that import, and you do.
He got a religion spread. That was a passive one too, huh? That's lucky.
Yes, looks like he does have 2 cities with Zoroastrianism off that 5% chance, which is very lucky. I've definitely whined quite a bunch when I don't get my religion spread.
Me too.
I enact mythology for the extra 5% spread, and then I spend 30 turns staring at it sitting in one city. I'm like, no, like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well, Egypt clearing out this site here with just warriors. It's going to get harder and harder because I think the Numidians are now 4 strength units, so he's kind of 4 strength against 4 strength. So I would love to see either player get spears, just because it'll make such an easier job clearing all this stuff. Hati is definitely not out of it, but definitely has a huge science gap to overcome.
This can be a little bit of inexperience too in multiplayer games. Sometimes it's a bit scary to bring the fight to your opponent. It's easier
Yes.
to continue doing the thing you know, which is is often for games like this, building a good
Yep.
economy and a good base. So
Yep. Oh no. Big event here for Egypt. One of his, not his heir, but his next child, who was also a tactics student, died in a training accident. So that event is definitely still in the game, Fluffy. And this is why I avoid tactics students because,
yeah, it's
yeah.
spooky to lose often your heir that way.
Yeah.
Or,
And also, his leader is now doomed. So we might see Egypt have some. I mean, his leader is going to be a tactician, so we won't have that much of a science difference, but presume that tactician is going to go be a general, not a governor. So he will probably see him drop down to like 40, maybe 30 something science, if I had to guess. And he won't
and
get the benefit
he'll lose his
from.
redraw too, yeah, which is a really nice upside of scholars.
Yes, he'll lose his redraw. He'll lose double tutoring, although he doesn't really take advantage of it that much. He will also lose the bonus from the Sages cities, giving the archive +2. So it'll be a pretty big science drop here.
I've forgotten now. So what has happened with spy masters? Are they still? How is their science impact
They're still
been?
pretty
Has it remained
good. If
strong? Okay.
it's still pretty good. I mean, if you want to, they have nerfed agent yields pretty significantly, so it's no longer like you can't get half your science from your opponent's city,
Hmm.
which is good. Agents, I think, are still good to have, but like the yields are more like, okay, I get 5 or 10 science, which early game can be good. The big thing, especially for multiplayer, is agents are basically map hacks. So being able to see into your opponent's city, see what they're building, potentially run treachery missions right before you're about to attack the city. All those things are very worth it. Personally, Portcullis, I think if you're starting with a nation like Hatti or Persia that has husbandry, Portcullis is not very far away. But I
Hmm.
think in terms of just science output, it's not going to be that much. Agents also do cost money to assign, and it gets increasingly expensive the more agents you have. To me, it feels more
But
like kind of
Spymaster
a
itself is still another chancellor
yes,
that, or
yep,
another counselor rather, that can add science to your empire. Okay.
yes, yep. It's
I think Egypt is short workers. Looking at what's going on in his empire, like that city that's doing its own management really needs a worker in there all the time just to basically direct it, because it did look like the city would build specialists.
yeah,
His southeastern
he's
city missing a bunch of improvements. His city that he's building the double barracks in missing improvements. There's a lot of stuff that would really benefit from having a couple more workers floating around this empire.
yes, both players are a little worker short. I think he pulled that Sage's worker up here to help with the barracks, which I don't know that I agree with. He did found clerics up here. I would have actually liked to see rider, I think, and import horses, and then like have another rider here and just make this. He also found it here to get the sorghum, so interesting. But the clerics, maybe he's planning for monasticism. We'll see here. He does have his new ruler, a tactician, a humble, ruthless tactician who's a dog owner. Family opinion is not great. He did get monasticism here. He doesn't quite have the civics for state religion. There is a hurricane right now. This is a disaster going on in Hati, which doesn't look like it did too much
Oh,
damage.
what does
It's
that
really
do?
hit the scalp. It basically does like a little bit of damage, potentially pillages some improvements, makes it harder to move through there. But this one isn't too impactful because it's just kind of hitting the coastline there where there isn't anything.
Are
Egypt
the
is getting.
hurricanes named in this game? Oh, they're
They
not.
they they are not named.
That is a
That's a
missed
great suggestion.
opportunity.
That is a missed opportunity.
You
Yeah,
do some family standing stuff there. The hurricane
yeah.
gets named after the eldest daughter or something. Oh,
It's a great idea. So Egypt is going for spear. So this is, I think, a very good choice tech-wise because he knows Hati's unique unit is melee horse, so he can shut that down. And then, of course, he knows from scouting, and we're seeing our first raids as well because it's turn 30. He knows from scouting, and we've got a raid for the Numidians going towards the Hatti, and then looks like the Scythians are raiding Egypt here. So he knows that all the all the units in the middle are horses as well. So spears are definitely a great pickup on this map. Um,
oh, he's got a total of exactly one mine with a -1 iron income right now. So
yes,
he may, if he wants to do a bunch of spears right about now, it might take You might have to get a little resources
Yeah, I
going for
mean,
that.
I think both players are running pretty low on the worker count. Of course, no one started builder. Builders make it a lot easier, and of course, in multiplayer, there's the tension of like I tend to be a greedy player. I like to play eco and just kind of ride that edge of like I will die if I fuck anything up, but if I hold, then I have a huge advantage. Just because that's my preferred play style, where I'm like I really like to be greedy and then as greedy as I can, and then stay just safe enough. Of course, if you miscalculate, things go very badly because then you have Fluffy Bunny marching into your cities, burning everything, and you're like, well, fuck, I have 20 workers. What am I going to do? But I have a great economy, but I'm dead. But we don't seem that coming out of Blaj at this point. Um, yeah, there are some cool graphic effects as well. There's a little rain coming here from the hurricane. You can't lose a unit to it; it'll just damage it as well. So you can't lose
Where is
units
that?
to disasters.
Or like,
It was
oh, I
up
see that
here.
right now. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, that's
it's
cool.
pretty
That is very
subtle,
nice.
a little dark.
No, I
So it's
really
a
like that. I often find the vanilla board of the old world very kind of like low contrast between, or not contrast exactly, like really like muted color palette. So it's nice to see something
yeah,
that adds a little bit of life to it to me. I like that a lot.
yes. And then if we get a drought, the whole map kind of turns like yellow. And then if we have a plague, it also kind of turns a sickly green. So it's kind of a cool effect. And volcanoes are also pretty awesome. I really like the calamities. The other thing that's worth noting for calamities is they almost all come with a paired event. I've been doing a good job keeping track of player events, but like there's usually some upside, assuming you spend some resources and you get some benefit from the calamity.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So it's not just a fuck you. It's just like, okay, well, here's something you have to deal with, but also there's a benefit if you want to pay for it or
I
something.
like I like events that require. It's interesting the multiplayer element of this for me because a single player, of course, it's all part of that
Yeah, it's all
experience. But
part of the story.
multiplayer, it is fun to have events that are impactful in the game but don't require a split in resources like sometimes you get in single player events. I found it one of the most annoying things ever in multiplayer to have a war going on and then have like a rebel raid in the back, where you have to spend an inordinate amount of orders to move to a different
Yes.
objective than the player objective you're dealing with to deal with some RNG kind of event. So anything
Yeah.
that can impact without kind of having that effect is a nice little twist on the
Yes.
events for
So
me.
it is worth noting that competitive mode turns off map raids, which is very nice because I personally despise off map raids for that reason because they're like, oh great, I've got units spawning in the back of my empire.
Yeah.
So that's nice. We won't see any off map raids. We will see raids from these tribes here. Hati's forces are a little split here. We've got like two warriors making a very ill-advised attack into this. Like this is gonna be very painful here. I think it's very important to group your units. He also has this raid coming here, so this is potentially some tactical misplays. Like this is like sure
Yes, but
he
maybe a
he
strategic advantage here, right? Because this is a mirrored map with the asymmetrical cities being in the middle, right? So
yes.
potentially, if you like in a stalemate situation, if you're the first person to advance into the middle and settle those, you might be up 2 cities to your opponent.
Yep. Although we don't see any, I guess we have a settler. We do have settlers coming out, so he is kind of supporting that. So yeah, maybe we'll see Hati, and Hati did bump ahead with that fifth city before Egypt's fifth city. We do see some. I hear some generals being assigned here, but I'm not sure where. Okay, up front here. Would love to see these guys potentially come back for an upgrade, or maybe he'll settle a city onto that so we can upgrade them to spears to really do some short work. Event-wise, he has the chance of becoming cursed. Probably not something
Hmm.
you want, or you can spend 4 orders and 270 gold to not be cursed. And then some new ambitions, Theology, Necropolis, or Volunteers. Curious to see what he picks there. Theology is probably the easiest one. He did not enact the state religion yet. He is kind of short on civics. He did spend civics somewhere. He got polytheism before getting the state religion. So he'll be able to put shrines everywhere, which would be pretty good. With divine rule, also that'll give him extra orders per pagan city. So potentially with 5 or 6 cities, he can get 5 or 6 orders. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't have anything to say. I don't
Hmm.
think I tried to interpose there.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were like about to say something, and I realized what was going on.
Yeah, I end
Uh,
up interrupting you a lot. You're doing a very good job of filling the air, which probably makes the
sports,
viewing experience better. But
sports
sometimes I just
commentator,
slip in.
yeah,
Yeah,
sports commentator style.
yeah,
Or StarCraft. I think I watched a good amount of StarCraft back in the day, and was like, oh, tasteless and artosis have taught me how to cast video games. So
yeah. Yeah. Again, I mean, this is one of the ways when we're talking about, for me, it's how does I want the match, of course, to be as interesting as possible. And I'm was a little concerned from those starts that the disparity might be too much to overcome. But one of the ways you can get back into it is by out expanding an opponent who's playing a little bit slower, a little bit more passive. So I
yeah,
liked seeing these units, even as I agree that northern move with the leader is a little bit ambitious with 5 enemy units standing over there. But I like seeing this Blaj here doing his best to move his city count up. I think that may be one of the ways he might get back in the game.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately here he's chosen to
double down.
he's splitting the damage, right? So like this warrior attacked into this skirmisher. So I think one thing that is not really well described in Old World, sadly, the faster you clear units around the camp, the faster the camp will spawn another unit. So clearing units might actually, if you can, you want to focus the camp to clear it as quickly as possible, and then clean up the units after. Unfortunately, he's
Oh, I
like
don't think I knew that. That's interesting.
it's not well documented, but notice he's splitting his damage here. He's being wise and like staying in. He's got a tactician general, so that will take some reflected damage here. But like, and everything else is ranged, and he's in forest, which is good. But I would have liked to see both these hit the camp, honestly, and clear the camp.
Well, he might. I guess I didn't see that last attack one. Did it go to that northwestern
Yeah, so
marauder there?
last turn he attacked the city center. This turn he moved the general over to the east and then attacked the unit outside the city center. So he's spreading damage across 3 units instead of
Mm,
focus firing, which is never a good idea.
yeah, yeah. I thought maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe he didn't have enough to finish the camp, so he spread damage somewhere else, assuming to double attack the camp next turn.
Yeah,
But doesn't sound like that's the case.
nope. Yeah, he did enact epics. So he is getting culture, and there's his first law. So some of this barb clearing will feed culture back, which is good because he definitely does need culture. Got triple settler on the way, so very much a fast expandy thing. Honestly, like given the way he's playing, I almost wanted to say he just should have gone builder because then he would have been able to expand and eco and have the same or slightly better science income because you don't have that -1.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like he's really taking advantage of the zealot. Of course, the zealot does give you one extra move, but if you want that, then just go Rome builder, and then you have all that without having to deal with the science of zealot. All right, back over to Egypt. Lots of events here. Festival has finished. Gracious, pretty good strength. Lots of civics. Ah, he's got the Grand Vizier option, so he could make Oligarch Merenpteth, who was a hero, as Grand Vizier. Not a particularly good Grand Vizier because they have military traits, and then only 4 courage, so that would only really like increase training. So yeah, doesn't feel like a great Grand Vizier option. Would have loved to see someone like Zenobia become a Grand Vizier option because a 5 science governor in all the cities without a governor would be quite a lot, and a 5 civics governor would be quite a lot, and a 5 discipline governor, yeah. So and still no ambassador, despite having that oligarch that gives you culture. I really love the high wisdom or like wisdom ambassadors, just because always good to move culture along. He is getting shrines everywhere because he does now have polytheism. Actually, no, that's a barracks, not a shrine. Um, Interesting. He's moving that settler up to the north and collapsing over here with these warriors as well. And
Yeah,
Phalanx is 2 years
I think
away.
to me this speaks a little bit again of inexperience watching these two players right now on the management of their counselors, relationships, and offspring. I think there's a lot of stats being left on the table that could be on the board helping them as opposed to stuck in the ether of not having ever been deployed. And I think both of them could really use it.
Yeah, and this is a first round match between the 2 players. Like I said, Sabertooth was kindly subbing in for someone who didn't show up. So neither of the players have played a match yet.
Yeah, I think it's
We,
possible to point out things that the players can be doing better without
oh,
attacking the
absolutely.
players
Yeah,
directly
yeah,
for
no,
that.
no. I
So
think, and,
yeah.
and I think the players have asked, like, please coach. So, like, this is good feedback. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's general advice, like, as you say, like any 4X, you want to have a plan. You want to figure out all the pieces of that plan and you want them to all happen at the same time, right? You don't want to be like,
And I think
I've
it's one of
got,
the old world's really interesting systems. It's if it's definitely next gen 4X in my opinion, and one of the things it does nicely is combine this kind of element of families that you've seen in games like CK or something, and
Mhm.
bring it into a more combat, not necessarily combat, but empire based building 4X. And what that means is the stats have meaning in the
Yeah.
game beyond just the lore that comes with it or the family interactions of it. They also impact your presence on the board, how fast you can make your units, how fast you can get your laws going, how fast you can get your text going. So it's not, maybe it's not so clear for players coming from like all your resources are on the board in terms of yields to realize that some of your resources are in your family as well. So I think it's easy to miss that, especially if you played a series of other games without having played much of a game like this. So I don't know. I think watching players maximize that is one of the joys that I have for Old World, is seeing that system come into play.
So Hati had an interesting marriage event here. So his heir chose to chose to marry this 5 wisdom courtier, which is minus 40 opinion for families, but does get 360 gold. So minus 40 over 20 years, which isn't insurmountable, but does mean he will have a very good high wisdom spouse once he inherits, if he inherits anytime soon. So science-wise, also we're at 20 science. There's a pretty big drop here on the Egypt graph. He went from 57 to 38, so no
Yeah,
longer
but
quite as devastating a leap, but still.
pretty terrifying that his drop doesn't even get him down
Yes.
to Hadi's peak.
Yes, that is and he's clearing out here, so he did focus fire over here, and he's clearing this. But you'll notice the barb sight is now down to 6 years to produce, because every unit killed speeds it up by a little bit, I think by a year. So if he clears this, and of course it ticks down every year, so he might get another spawn there. So I would really like to see just clearing that site, but as you said, it's not. You weren't aware. I wasn't aware for a long time either. I think I only found it a couple months ago, which is why I keep harping on it, because I'm like, I played the game for years and had no idea that it worked this way.
Yeah.
So he's clearing this. He does have that aggressive triple settler, which I think is exactly what he needs to do right now. He needs to get some cities up. Yeah, they're both at 5 cities, so going up to 8 cities will obviously be a big advantage, and we should start to see them collide here in the middle, which will, of course, be a little more interesting for us as observers, because the players will no longer just be playing against tribes. So yeah,
Yeah,
collision.
although it's not necessarily clear, or it's not necessarily simple to translate extra cities into extra science directly, right? Especially again with the family system we've just been talking about, where a percentage of your yields are in that family. Him having more cities doesn't really increase his family structure, particularly, for example. So I agree that, and I put forth the idea that him putting forth more expands might be one of the ways he can get into the game, but it's also going to be if he can then figure out how to translate more expands into fixing the deficits that he's having in his empire, and I'm not sure we'll see it. Well,
So
hopefully we will, but
Egypt made some interesting choice. They did pick that hero Grand Vizier, which means now they don't they do not control their production queues in their cities that don't have a governor. This city is still autonomous, I think. Yeah, it's still autonomous. It's giving them 4 extra science for being autonomous, so they don't control
they've given
production
over
queues.
more. I didn't catch that part of it. I heard you say that the governors would that vizier was instead of all governors that were empty. But I didn't realize they took over building as well.
Yeah, they take over the production queue. They don't take over worker moves. There's also this giant flood in Egypt, very historically accurate. And as you can see, it's destroyed a bunch of improvements.
That's beautiful.
It looks very cool.
It does.
Yeah. So he's dealing with that. And here's the flood event. So he can either spend some money or estrange the matriarch of the pagan religion, which would not be great because one of his families is pagan. So he did estrange that, so she's now pissed with minus 110 opinion, and that's immediately taken the riders down from pleased to cautious. So a pretty big little bit of RNG hit here.
Tell me about the impact on the terrain post-flood. Will it just be like it had never been, or will there be does it kill are these forests wiped out short term, or tell me any impact at all?
All the flood does is it makes it impassable, so you can't walk through the water. It doesn't change the terrain. Oh, that's a great idea. The famine, the drought, does have a chance of changing terrain to arid. But you're right. I mean, I'd love to see flood maybe make stuff more lush or something. That's a great suggestion.
I mean, if that comes out of it, no problem. I just want to know what the actual impact was. Not having
it awkwardly blocks all your movement, so you cannot cross the flood. So
can you bridge, or you just
nope? You just gotta go around.
Okay, and if this is in the middle of combat, this is one of those ones that worries me a little bit. So let's imagine this came down right where it came down, but these two empires were at war. Would he basically essentially be cut off from that bottom right city reinforcing it all, and maybe his cap to some degree as well?
Yes, the flood just takes 3 years max.
Okay. Oh, it's only 3. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a 50% chance to go away every year. So and with a max of 3, so it's not a permanent wall. So yeah, just a little bit of. But yes, in theory, he would have to move around, or units here, I guess, are kind of trapped if they're in here. But yeah, let's pop back over to Hati. 1 year on labor force, so he should be able to get religion. And fortunately,
God, that is so much later than he planned, and so much later than his opponent, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but that means, assuming he has the civics for state religion, which he does, he'll be able to adopt it, and then hopefully it'll spread, and maybe he'll build some disciples as well to spread it manually, which means then he can start rushing with training, and he does have. Just 1 city at developing, although again he's running.
I've forgotten. Are disciples locked behind a tech or no?
Nope. You can build disciples as soon as you have the religion.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So he's clearing here. A little bit risky, but fortunately he's using this worker to block. So yeah, to keep this his warrior alive. This may take near fatal damage, but yeah, I'm not sure how he's going
Near
to
fatal
manage
is not
this
fatal, right?
actually. Yeah, but like curious
Yeah, I know, it
how
looks pretty sketchy
that
otherwise.
looks sketchy. But maybe one of these guys can come up here because like this guy's awkwardly at 1 health. Um, all right, yeah. So that is there's the barb move. Um, he can't quite kill both in one turn, unfortunately. And
But
of course,
he could attack with his leader, kill with the tactician or the general. Oh my god, what are the counterattacking ones called? I can't
the
remember right now.
tactician. Yep,
The
tactician,
tactician,
which
right?
is his
And then he
son.
can block the tile in between with the worker, and it's a melee unit
Yep,
again, right?
yep,
So
yep, yep,
that
yeah,
would
yeah,
protect.
yep. It just we'll need to do a bit of advance. And of course, Egypt scout here is watching all this, and you can see it got bumped out of the forest, but it just bumped to an adjacent tile and is just hidden. So in
Hmm.
future, that'll be hidden for 5 turns, but right now it's just perma hidden. And yeah,
That's good. I always
dealing,
thought that scouts needed some counterplay.
yeah. And then he's dealing with a raid, and of course he's war with everyone. Everyone's at war with everyone. Let's see what's going on with Egypt. The flood ended, so here's an event from ending the flood. And he took the choice to, he had the choice to change to monotheism, I think, for free, but chose to ignore it because I think he wants to get his shrines up everywhere. And he's repairing the flood went away already. So it's just a year of floods. And then dealing with some raids over here. And he does have phalanx as well, so he can um, start
So how can I
upgrading to
easily
spears.
tell which cities are under his control versus which ones are not for the build queue?
The
Just literally the
easy,
ones with no governors.
the ones with no so if you hover over the Grand Vizier, it'll tell you which cities it's acting as governor, and then Menifer, just you need to remember it's an autonomous city, which
Gotcha.
no easy way to do that apart from I guess remembering or like yeah as an observer I don't think there's an easy way. The easiest way to
I
check
see.
is like if you look at the science income, you can see autonomous rule hidden there. It's getting 4 extra science there. Interesting that he's going for border boost, so that'll be a pretty good expansion. Would love to see him cycle this so he could settle this city before the border boost, but maybe he wants to clear this first. But like little optimizations like that are always nice, where you put some research
Uh,
to another tech and then swap back to border boost.
Wait, how can he? Yeah, correct me on some mechanics here. I remember being if you skipped a temp card, that temp card was permanently discarded.
Yes. So
Is
what
that
I'm
no longer true?
suggesting that if you skip a bonus card, that is discarded. But for example, what you can do is you can like drama. He only has 47 science a year, so he can put 1 turn of research into drama, settle
I
the
see.
city, and then swap back because he hasn't finished the
I
tech. So
understand.
as long as he doesn't finish
So
the tech,
essentially banking it in
yep,
in
you bank.
drama.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And you can use that. I call it juggling. I don't know if there's a better word for it, but like you can use that to like time like founding all those cities, especially since this is just the settler's already there and almost there. So like it feels like you can just, assuming he wants any of these texts, which he probably wants at least rhetoric or drama, and probably polis because he's going to need some wood income at some point. So you can just put a little bit of research there and then
Is the
get that
music
extra.
still locked behind
Music is still
poetry
locked
drama?
before drama. There is a mod if you want to disable that. No game option yet, but yeah, the music is
I see.
sadly still locked behind drama. Or you could just play Grease, which starts with drama unlocked.
Less overpowered Civ gets music from the get go.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, so
Yeah. I
we
mean, is
have a
that
spear
balanced in
here.
multiplayer?
We have a spear here. So where is that spear from? He doesn't have phalanx. I presume that's an event spear from somewhere. Must have missed the event. He did discover marsh can kill units. No, you cannot lose a unit in a marsh. Environmental effects can never kill units.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, he did not see the line. So he's run his leader away. Didn't see
he's
the line of
putting it. That's
clearance.
why he's asking, can I move this unit into a marsh and not have it die?
Hmm.
So yeah, so he's going to just hit this, and fortunately that is out of range of that site, and he should be able to clear the. Oh, is he going to be able to clear this? Maybe with the promo. This is going to be really sketch.
Yeah, it's a very sketchy attack over here. I'm very
uh,
curious too. Like, so tell me, we talked a little bit about the events that can happen with killing a leader who is a general. Right now, we're killing the unit that the general is attached to. I mean, that scout can see that unit. That is a leader unit at half a health sitting over there.
yes, yes. So in theory, if he had a unit that could reach, he could go over there and snipe it. Unfortunately, he just have these warriors that can't, even with force march, can't go past. And we're on double fatigue force march, which I think existed when you played.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
added pretty close to when I left. Yeah.
yeah, which I personally love because it makes it so you don't have these crazy cross map force marches, which are just like, what the fuck? Where did that
Oh
come
yeah,
from?
it's much better.
Yeah. but you still have the option to force march. Yeah, so he's clearing this up. Border boost got him a lot of extra resources. Pulled that marble in with border boost. Pulled some salt in. His capital sprawling a little bit here. This city now sprawling a little bit more. Got those pearls. So yeah, very nice border boost. He's going for navigation, so he is already on 4 laws, also worth noting, and he is finishing the stronghold in his rider seat. So that means he can start his unique unit next turn. Doesn't have the eco, to your point, for it. Doesn't really have the food or wood. Is starting to chop some wood, so we might see a 6 strength unique unit, which is going to be pretty terrifying to face.
And I
So
think
this,
also interesting here is the movement potential of horse units right now. 'Cause
yes,
as you said, this map is fairly wide, and the front is going to start getting contested here. They're both moving units towards the frontal cities. They're considering expanding up there. They're going to clash, even if just by being in proximity with each other, and having very mobile units is going to make that a lot more interesting for one side than the other.
yes. It's also worth noting that light chariots get 4 move per fatigue, 4 tile move per fatigue. They are the fastest unit in the game.
Hmm.
Normal chariot is just 3, so light chariots can go really far, really fast. And he founded riders here and instantly started importing horses. So this looks like he wants to be able to build something here. So that's our first kind of central plain site here. Let's see if Blaj has
Cool.
vision of that. He does not. His scout is still over here, actually now revealed, because city settlers, unfortunately, there's a I think they're going to change this, but right now, settling a city on top of where a scout is hiding will reveal the scout. In future, it will punt the scout out and give them the 5-turn grace window. So that'll be a good change. So, like, because yeah, you may not notice that your scout is visible. So lots. Again, they keep making Old World better in these small ways, but those small ways really add up. Let's see what Blaj does
Yeah, it's
on
good to
his.
see something like this than like community events, because the problem with games like it's not exactly it's not a flaw with Old World. It's just the problem with games that are been released in the past but have had a lot of updates since. It's often difficult to get players reinformed or reinterested in them. So
Yeah,
like visibility becomes a huge problem, even when the game has gotten massively better over time and it's worth coming back to check out. It's often hard to find that.
yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
nice to see player events like this happening.
yes, player events are great, and then I think, of course, DLCs are always like big moments, like when there's a spike of interest as well. So I think the Wrath of Gods DLC saw a bunch of folks come back, and of course, Civ 7 brought about a lot of interest to the 4X world as well. So people started playing. They're like, oh, I want to play a 4X, but Civ 7's not really fun right now, so let me go try a different one.
Yep.
Interesting, this scout did not get revealed because it was already punted and had that perma invis, and he did clear this site, fortunately. And is immediately starting horses on this here. So yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be going his unique unit horses directly into an Egypt with spears, and then also with a ranged unique unit, which is yeah, that's going to be pretty ugly here. So let's check
I
out
don't
this
think he's
damage to the
going to be
spear.
doing his unique unit anytime soon. He's still on 2
Yeah,
uh,
2 laws.
only. Yeah, his decent civics income, but looking at his tech, does he even have access? I guess maybe I can tell that from the other tree. Let's find out.
He's researching mill drill, so he's
No,
getting
right.
barracks.
So no other laws unlocked for him right now, at least
Nope.
according to that interface. So it's gonna be a while before he's getting his unique unit out. And as you say, it's already been pre-countered by the spear tech that's happening now.
Yeah, that's the downside I think of Hati. Like melee, you have a great route unit, but it's melee, and melee horse. Unlike Persia or Egypt, who have horse but they are ranged horse, which means they still get destroyed by spears if the spear hits them, but they can hit the spear ranged and not deal with the extra strength. Yeah. So mill
Well,
drill on
tell
the,
me about that right now, because a lot of
sure.
changes again have happened along the line for this. So tell me how route has materialized. What is route these days? How has it evolved? And then also, what is the counterattack situation like?
Yeah, so counterattacks are still buried behind tacticians or a max fortify. So if you fortify a unit, I think it takes 3 turns now, and then it can retaliate after that.
Okay.
And then route has not changed too much. I think while you were playing spears already stopped route chains.
Yeah.
So that's still the case. And I think they went back and forth with route. You still take 1 damage melee reflect. I think they were playing around with 2, but flipped around to 1. Yeah, so route still
Okay.
exists. The other big change is Persia got nerfed pretty hard. Their unique unit is now just 1 range by default. So if it's on a hill, it can hit for 2, but it no longer is the insane 2 range and route,
Gotcha.
which
Yeah, that used to be a very, very strong unit.
which was as a
Tell
Persia.
me about the Assyrian unique unit. Now that we're thinking, now I'm thinking about
Yeah,
things. Has the Assyrian unique unit changed at all?
it's still very powerful. I think this may have happened while you're playing. Siege units now get double movement off of roads. So as long as you get a great road network up, you can get those siege towers in, and they're very nasty because they're a
Okay,
melee siege unit and they have defense against ranged, and they do extra damage to units in forts and in urban. So they are actually very terrifying, assuming that you can build a road network to get them in range. Right? Obviously, if you know roads, it's going to be very hard to move them around. But
gotcha.
battering rams and siege towers are incredibly strong. We did see some great play in one of the matches. I want to say Fonder Cargo versus. This was one of the highest skill matches. In Fonder Cargo versus Aaron. Aaron did a
Might
both.
ask
It
you for
was
a link for that later if
yeah.
there's a.
It was an
Yeah,
Assyrian duel. So we had both players playing around with battering rams, and yeah, some great places, some
cool.
great plays, some enlists, zealots enlisting a battering ram, like all sorts of
Yeah.
fun stuff. So
Looks
swapping
like
back.
Egypt is back to manual control. The vizier is gone.
Vizier is gone.
Which initially I thought the vizier was just being very lazy because there was no
Yeah, no
building
queue.
assigned in the northern cities, and I'm like, what's going on here? But no, no,
Yeah, the king goes into the office of the vizier. Why have you done? Oh, you're dead. Okay,
yeah,
so securing peace. He's got the option here for peace with the Scythians. This is a scripted event that he. Let's see what he did. He did get peace, which means he'll have the option to get a tribal invasion for 10 legitimacy later. Which
mm,
usually, assuming you can deal with a tribal invasion and you're not being attacked by your opponent at the same time, can be very good.
it's quite nice. Yeah, yeah.
He's getting a scout here out of this cleric site. Would love to see him start building some disciples somewhere, but unfortunately, the only places he can build disciples is this city, which is still autonomous and is not building disciples. It's partying all the time with festivals. And he hasn't had a worker to improve the marble, which I think the city would have done. And then over here,
I think that
which,
worker stuff is really starting to compound, right? Like, you can get a bit of a worker, like too many, right? You can have an overflow of them
yeah,
sometimes sitting around. But the nice part of that is when you need them, you have them again. But if you hit a bunch of building techs, like for example, if your tech is quite good and your worker count is quite low, which is
yep,
kind of where Egypt's at this point in the game, you really get this backlog. And he's losing so many resources off his terrain, and he's losing just so many bad building decisions because he doesn't have the improved tiles to do something useful out of those things. And
yeah.
it's gonna build up.
His eco is not in great shape. He is starting a granary here and a farm. No mines, to your point. I guess he's getting the salt, but that salt will just give him culture and money and will not give him iron that he needs badly. He is also in a money hole, not really great shape, and only 6 workers.
And 9
For
food per turn, even with that granary, like farms are better for him than the granary right now because it's with 9 food per turn, he's not going to be able to make his unique unit in any real number.
yeah, I
He
think the
might be able
reason
to supplement the wood from chopping, but
yeah, I think he's getting the granary to boost the farmer specialist because there's a farmer specialist on that, which the granary will scale the farmer specialist, which means it'll give him an extra 1.8 growth in the city, and also it gives 2 base growth, so that will help
without
growth.
second guessing all of his little
Yeah,
decisions here, why is the granary there as opposed to one to the southeast of that tile?
you can have multiple granaries around. I presume he did want
Oh, I
to.
see.
So presume like one tactic you can do is you can just, as the city cultures up, you can stack granaries around wheat and really boost that farmer specialist up to get
Mm,
extra growth. So because
I got you.
granaries are, I think 60% for a farm, so that's a huge scaling factor on that. And you generally want high growth in this, although again, like I'm not really sure why there's a stronghold here. One option, actually thinking about it now, one reason there might be a stronghold here um, is because he wants to put a citadel so he can upgrade, although this city is now actually out culturing his capital because of the pyramids. So this is going to hit strong in 32 turns, which is a very long way away still.
Yeah. Yep. Slow culture on both sides.
Yeah, getting navigation as well. And Hati is up at city now over Egypt. And does Egypt have a settler coming along? I don't see one. There's one on the map. He does have an open city site. I don't see
Hmm.
another settler for Egypt.
No, I don't either.
And yeah, this maybe worker should have been a settler. And maybe this scout should have been a settler because he should settle that site. Let's toggle over to Blaj, see what happened that turn. Sadly, not doing a great job following the action. Sorry. Um,
I mean, the action is not
it's
much action at the moment.
yeah, just
So,
players eco following around here. So
yeah. Yeah.
we've got a garrison over here. A wonder coming out from Hati, the Yazalikaya,
Whereabouts?
which is a very good wonder for Hati. It gives you 20% civics in all your state religion cities and pairs really well with Hati because Hati has that extra bonus civics in that city. In fact, we see Hati has 88 civics income a turn, but only 69 from Egypt, largely driven because each of the Hati cities is generating 10 civics a turn base.
And remind me of the mechanics on contested wonders. It's the contesting in this game is who starts it first, right?
Correct. Once you start first. So at this point, this is this is Hati's wonder, unless
The worker gets killed.
Egypt kills the worker and then moves the unit onto the tile.
Gotcha.
But yeah, one other option if you're sieging a city is you can let the worker finish and then just take the city and say thanks for the wonder. But yeah, so he just started that wonder, which is a pretty powerful wonder. And he did Hound Judaism and does have one city.
Oddly, his economy seems better than Egypt's right now. I'm
Yes,
looking at the food yields, the iron yields, everything actually.
Let's take a look at the improvement tab. Hati is actually at 24 improvements versus just 20 for Egypt. So he's been doing a better job investing into making use of his terrain. Like if you look at the marble, he's improved both salt here, marble. Over on Egypt, Egypt has not improved this marble. Started that salt, not improved these two marble despite the border boosts putting them into their territory. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the challenge of the game is just balancing your resources. It's very tempting to build a farm next to a cattle and this, but like when you're missing iron, you really should start a mine somewhere. But yeah, I know I fall into that trap where I'm like, oh, this is such an optimal tile for this thing I already have plus 300 a turn of.
Yeah, some of that, and also just some of the prediction of where you're going to be to need it. Because a lot of times, although gold lets you inefficiently kind of fix your deficits in your economy, ideally, you come out further ahead if you do the planning, right? And it does not feel like, at least on Egypt's side, that's happened very well yet. This game.
I think it's very hard to do in Old World just because there's so many interacting things. Like you can try to spreadsheet a build order, but then the problem is the map gives you different things, right? So like. But in theory, you're correct, right? Like you can try to line up the timings and be like, well, I know I want 6 light chariots, so I'm going to need 600 food somewhere.
Some of the things that really stand out are the power spike that the unique units grant, right?
Yep.
So like those tend to be a thing you can pretty reliably plan around since you did choose the civ that has that unit.
Yes, and then you want to be able to feel like, I know I'm going to need at least this much income, right? I don't want to produce one every turn, so I'll need a bank of 600 for the upgrade, for the initial build or something. So yeah, some events here from Hati. Looks like getting... got Pathfinder on this tactics student. Looks like his governor here, who's angry, is plotting against him. So to placate, I guess he can potentially either imprison her or stockpile civics or control 6 forums. We'll see what he picks.
You know what? This is my first time observing. You know what would be a really nice observer feature? It'd be nice if we could have a toggle for auto tracking the active player.
Yes, that would be really nice, especially like follow along, so you could just see what they're doing.
Yeah, not even that. Although that would be nice to literally follow what they're doing on their side. But it would just be nice to have like the swap between it because it's turn based and they're playing back and forth. And you can literally look at that. I do find myself focusing on the answer to a question or like what's happening in a situation without necessarily tracking whose turn it is.
Yep. So. Yeah, I just keep the nations tab open and try to swap over when the turn opens. But yeah, it'd be nice if they just happen automatically. So this is healing up here. That scout is fortunately invisible. Has pretty good vision there. What does Hati see? Hati has no idea that the city is founded and is moving in and clearing the city site. So we might see some combat here soon. These are just a spear and a worker. I think the spear is from an event. It has to be from an event. I'm not sure how he got that spear. He doesn't have the tech. He's getting navigation. Go ahead.
That guy still makes fire from lightning strikes. That's his tech level. So
well, I
don't think it's going to be a spear on his own.
He did enact Judaism as his state religion, which means he can now rush with... well, he can't rush because he doesn't have the culture in the city. So this is, to your point, lining that stuff up. So he's getting a garrison here and getting that, but like would have loved to see something to get culture. Even a shrine here would have been great for that early +2 culture. Would have sped it up a long time ago.
He does have 2 cities that can rush though, and although it would be much nicer if his military cities, at least one of his military cities, there.
His rider, he doesn't have, so awkwardly Judaism spawned in his military seat, which means he doesn't really want to build a disciple out of it, but he does need to get some spread. Oh, and we have some combat. Egypt has stunned with the tactician leader, the spear, the most valuable unit that Hati has from an event. So that's very aggressive play from Egypt. I think he had just moved this scout and saw it, or maybe he had seen it from city borders. I'm not sure. This game might get very bloody very fast. Right now they are still similar. Military score, Hati is actually slightly ahead, 250 to 200. which is
Remind me,
based.
are warriors, are they any type of unit? You know how axemen are bonus versus spears? Are warriors also bonus versus spears? I forgot.
Nope, warriors
Okay.
are a basic vanilla.
Neutral unit. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, this spear is dead because it's stunned, so it can't run away. And of course the Scythians. Oh man, there's going to be a Scythian unit spawning in a year as well. Uh, Interestingly, Egypt has peace with the Scythians because of that event. So
Yeah. So
that
they're
means
essentially like
allies.
NPC
Yeah,
reinforcements for him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is, of course, when the tribal invasion spawns, that will change. But yeah, for now, ooh,
And honestly, the Haughty player has to be careful here because not only is that spear unsavable, but if he doesn't get that warrior out of there immediately, it's going to be another stunned character and another killed
yes,
unit.
yeah. This is the power of the tactician leader that's done,
Yeah.
and his own tactician has not inherited yet, and his leader is just the zealot leader is living, and as you said, dumb leaders live strong long.
Yeah, that's right. That
Like,
-1 lives forever.
yeah, yeah, it's 55.
He needs to
Um,
get it over there though, because he has good civics, and this might be one of the ways he could get back in this game. Is he
he
starts to
could
take advantage of the military, and
he could
stealing
get.
units is a really nice way to do that.
Unfortunately, all he has is warriors, and warriors versus spears is not going to be great. Blaj says, "What road?" Yeah, there's no road. I think that was a force march, maybe, or like he came over. He doesn't have vision of the city. Let's see how he responds here. So we got some early conflict here. Uh, LOL, that
Also, a
road.
strange accusation because it
No, no,
happened, right? So
no. Yeah, that road. I'm not sure what road. Yeah, I don't know what Sabertooth was referring to in terms of a road. I don't see any roads anywhere, and yeah. All right,
oh no,
let's.
there's a road. I see one road. There's a road. The Egyptian unit worker has made a road north of their Sage Marble City. It's a
Ah,
circular road leading nowhere right now. So there's one road.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was probably what he's referring to. But of course, Blaj can't see that and has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah,
So,
but I agree, weird road.
um, so we've got this raid awkwardly coming in from the Scythians against Blaj, which he's probably not going to want to abandon the city. So I think realistically he should just run away with this warrior.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, as you point out, Egypt can kill this, and then this tactician can come and stun another unit.
Yep.
And then I spam chop and made a road because how the buttons move in nuclear. Yes, the chop button is in the same spot where the road button is if the chop button goes away. So
Is the Zealot ability to convert that requires a unit kill?
it does require a unit kill.
Okay.
So it's on next kill. So enlist next kill is the event, and it's 400 civics, which he does
Gotcha.
not have this turn. So in theory, he could flip enlist unfortunately, this is a tactician leader on that spear, so it's going to counterattack, and he only has warriors.
Yeah.
Well, he has a slinger coming out here. Would love to see the
Is
zealot.
counterattack as it sounds? Is it actual counterattack or is it a damage based thing? It's a melee counterattack -1 HP. So is it just as it says 1 damage per counter attacking turn?
No, so
Or is
the
it
way the tactician counterattack works,
yeah.
retaliation, I think is what the game calls it, is as if that unit had attacked it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
So it'd be the full damage of the spear.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very difficult for
Yeah, he's
the
going to have a
player
hard
without
time.
that tech to deal with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's also a decent strength leader, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
decent strength unit leader. So this is not looking good for Blaj. We might see an early kill here if Egypt senses blood. It does have that piece, although again that's going to trigger into an invasion shortly. I think the Numidians are also off the map, right? It's just the Scythians that are left, and the Vandals are also clear. So we're just down to one tribe, and that tribe is peaceful with Egypt and at war with the Hatti. But of course, that piece is from that tribal invasion event, so this might get ugly either way. Although he does spears, so should be able to easily handle it. Getting the apprentice
Great.
officer, and probably we're going to start to see him starting a mounted light chariot, because he can start that light chariot in Timor. And
Great promotions on the units are the player selected ones as opposed to the inherent ones on the unit. Is that correct?
yes, so players, when the unit gets XP, can get upgraded. You can also turn training into upgrades. So he's done a good job promoting these units.
So looking at that warrior, or excuse me, that leader spearman that also has healer for 1 per turn on there as well.
So I think
just
the
like
healer,
that thing's not going to stop.
yeah, the healer comes from this shrine, the Shrine of Isis. So they changed the shrine here. So it now makes it so that new units built from that city start with healer, which is kind of nice in your military production city, because before it used to be
That's
like,
a really nice bonus.
yeah, it used to be you'd stand on that and it would heal, which was like, okay, well, that's not very useful. And the new unit spawned here, and then he's still at peace, I think. No, Egypt is now at war with the Scythians. because presumably he got the tribal invasion event. The returning emissary, right? So he has the choice of. He actually doesn't have a choice because he's not charming. So all he's going to get 10 legitimacy and a tribal invasion, which maybe will buy Hati some time. He did finish navigation, which will be his 5th law, and also importantly get him 5 extra orders from serfdom. He does have a free camel archer around, potentially as a unit. Might be worth grabbing just to like get some tempo since it does do extra damage, although there are no melee units from Hati. He's pulling back here. Might not clear that city site. He's healing. That warrior ran away wisely from Hati, although Egypt does have vision here. So yeah, Solver also says in chat that tactician counterattack is something that was inspired by one of your suggestions, Filthy.
Oh, I remember. I was just clarifying how it actually ended up mechanically. You know, I know these things get tweaked a lot, especially
Yep.
It was kind of implemented right around the time I was leaving, so it's kind of nice to see what it's become.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's actually that was one of my favorite conversations I've had with a developer of any of the games. I had a long conversation with Soren on my stream, talking a lot about a lot of the mechanics of Old World, specifically with multiplayer balance in mind. And so it's really cool to see some of the things like this far removed from that conversation, what's actually come of it. It's kind of nice to see.
Yeah. So this worker seems to be moving towards the front. I'm not entirely sure. I guess he's just chopping with it to get that wood. His econ, to your point, Egypt's eco is I think he's roading, but Egypt's economy is a piece of shit. Like there's nothing. Yeah. Like this is bad.
He's not roading because he doesn't have any stone.
He can't even buy gold. He can't even buy. It's 96 gold to buy stone. So like part of this is just unit maintenance. Is that like there's upkeep there, and then unit maintenance on all the resources. So 23 food for units, 8.5 food. Yeah, and then this city is spending the stronghold of the garrison. So the maintenance costs can add up very quickly. Yeah, curious to see if we'll see him enact navigation, which I would expect, or rather serfdom. He's out of orders here, and he does have this. He did pick the tribal invasion event because he did not have a choice. So it does give him that 10 legitimacy, which is pretty nice. But yeah, this is Egypt is kind of running dry, where Hati's economy I think is actually in much better shape.
Yeah, I haven't. You know, this is not the only game that you can get ahead of your economy to a point where it causes large problems, not only in what you can't do because you can't afford it, but also in maintaining what you do have and not having that deteriorate around you. You can do that in Old World. You can run into like a series of, you know, neutral or bad events with like escalating unhappiness between your factions, you know, made more problematic by the discontent having built up over time. You can actually see empires fall apart a little bit, especially with newer players in this game. So it'll be interesting because it did feel like Egypt was really far ahead, and now it suddenly seems, and to what we're just talking about, that scary military unit's still there, but at the same time, the Hatis are doing okay right now.
Yeah, and 29 improvements for the Hati versus just 22 versus Egypt from Egypt. This settler does have. This city site is also cleared. So I'm curious to see whether Hati is going to force march this settler to settle this, or that like just normally get it there. Like, can he safely settle this city site, or will he like? I don't know. Actually, that's like this is a. I mean, ideally, you do want this city site on your map settled. You don't want Egypt to hold it, but at the same time, you don't want to just settle it and then have it fall. Probably definitely settling on this side of the river is the right call. Ooh, he's settling on the other side of the river. He force marched that. That feels like a mistake, just because.
Well, remind me the impacts of this. So in this game, attacking across the river is a negative, right? A malus.
It's minus 50% from melee attacks.
Yeah. Okay. And the cities are, is it double unit HP?
The cities have 20 defense naturally. So they
sorry, hit points or defense?
This is a great question here. I think it's 20. I don't actually remember.
It was double the unit HP because units have 20 HP, right?
They have 20 HP as well. I think. Let me look at wall. Right. So walls, help me out. And devs in the chat, if you recall, it's 20 HP by default. And then every improvement gives extra HP, and then you can scale up defense as well. I want to say they have like you just don't do. I think cities are like I don't recall how much strength cities are by default.
But what I'm trying to get at is for myself, but also the
Yeah,
viewer of this, right? Which is how tanky is that city comparatively to a unit right now? Is that basically so it's not defended by that river because it's on the wrong side for the melee,
yeah.
although
So it's
presumably the melee
it's
can move
pretty
around it.
tanky.
So
So
what is
like
it? Well,
so
why though? It's
yeah.
just
So
20 HP. Good.
so if I could, yeah. So I think
It has a defense stat as well. Yeah,
yeah, it has a defense stat which unfortunately I can't easily show because
I can.
I
It's
need it in.
8.5
Uh,
for that, and it looks like it's a base of 8 and 0.5 per population. If you can do it by,
yes.
yeah,
So it's basic. It's cities are basically 8 strength units. Is a good way to think about it before they have improvements with 20 hit points.
that's kind of
Um,
cool because what that means is early game they're tankier than they are late game, right? Which is kind of what you
yes.
want from that.
Yep. And of course you
Once you
can,
improve it, you can, yeah, yeah,
yeah, you can put moats and walls and towers and make them very tanky. But yeah, it's like as if you're attacking into an 8 strength unit. And of course, champion cities, which we don't have any on this, and vigilant governors can increase that as well. Vigilant, I think, is plus 50% city defense, if I remember correctly.
And
Yes,
at the moment, the best part of that city is it can't be stunned.
the city cannot be stunned, and units inside the
So,
city cannot be stunned either.
yeah, yeah.
And he's starting a slinger there, and he put his a general here, but like so he did settle the city, so at least he's not going to lose that. But Egypt can kind of poke at it, although Egypt doesn't have any ranged units yet. Although, oh, he's not starting. Well, his economy is so
His economy
shitty
can't support it.
that he
Yeah.
can't start. He has 4 laws and has developing, but cannot start his light chariot here. He's also
And
passing up the
something
free
else that
camel archer.
this long living king has done, despite doing it late in life, is there are a lot of offspring out of this king,
Yes,
which
he
means there's going to be a deep line of stat giving family members and useful governors coming out of the Hadi line that we're not going to see
yeah
out of this younger Egypt guy.
yeah. I think you
Too
only
much
get
time warring.
stats from your immediate family, the succession lines. But yeah, 4 versus 2.
Yeah.
Um, thank you,
Well,
Fluffy.
but you can interact with them in different ways, right? So you can do things like tutor them, and when they're tutored, even after your secession, they might still be available for other roles, right? So
Yes,
they might be available
yeah,
as generals, they might be available as governors. These stats will trickle down later if you invest in them early, which is nice to see.
yeah. And Fluffy pointed out the way for me to see that tooltip was actually hold down city Alt while hovering over the city, so I can see that it is 8 defense and then 0.5 per pop.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether that should be scaling by culture. It doesn't right now. I think you just have to just build by.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because there are, you don't want the city disappearing instantly, but you don't want it to be indestructible either. So it's interesting. I was less making a comment about
Yeah,
whether or not I thought it was strong or weak and more interested in right now if Egypt wanted to go knock that city down, how expensive or how hard would that be was what I was really looking at there.
yeah. So right now they could get 4 military units on the right side of the river. The warriors would do 2, and it looks like the spear would do 4. So that's 3 warriors. So 10 a turn. The city can heal with repair city, which I think is 4 HP with 1. So yeah, they can knock it down. Yeah, it's repair damage is 10% HP. So it's actually 3 hit points a turn. So they can deal 10. It heals 3. So that means they need 3 years of beating on it to like get the city down. Assuming nothing comes and bothers them. So it's not quite a pushover to take. But yeah.
So what that actually means is that right now for Hadi, that's their strongest unit by tech is their city, which is
Yes.
right where they want this then, right? Which is their
Yeah.
strongest unit is on the front line right now and might actually be the only thing that would slow down the Egyptian units.
Yeah.
And if Hadi's industry behind this city wall is so much better than Egypt's, which it is, and is likely to get more better faster, if that makes sense, because he's got
Yep.
more workers out. I mean, that's suddenly we have a game. When I was really worried we weren't going to have a game on our hands
Yeah.
before the start. So
Absolutely.
That's cool.
And Solver corrects me, it is 4 HP repair per turn, not 3, because one HP is passive. Then I
Why
think
is it 4 then? If it's 10% plus 1 passive and the HP is 20 of the base HP, how is that not 20 plus 2 plus 3?
because the repair itself is 10% HP, and then it's plus 1 HP for the repair. So the repair is plus 1 HP and plus 10% HP, and then there's a passive plus 1 HP. So 10% is 2.
Oh,
and then 1
so
from repair is 3. There's 2 plus 1s
on that, essentially.
exactly.
Yeah, it's just the other one isn't shown.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, all right. So Egypt's economy is in deep trouble here. He is basically flatlining really hard. He's selling resources. He spent 138 gold to buy 22 iron because he is in a huge iron hole. Would love to see some mines. Yes, go ahead.
Remind us what happens here. So I think as this works, right? he has to, when he has a resource that's negative, that resource has to be accounted for, right?
Correct. So you'll cover debts.
So it
So
will auto sell resources to
it'll
cover
all
that.
sell resources to cover the gold debt, and then sell resources to cover that. So if you hover over the notifications, you can see what's being sold. But that basically means he's draining
But that's
everything. There's no penalty
that's
if
the
you
question.
zero.
What happens? Okay, that's what I want to hear. Go
Yeah,
on.
if you zero out, then you'll sell everything and stay at zero, and then there's no further penalty. If
But the
you're
problem
just
is improvements cost resources. You
correct.
can't build an improvement, or I can't think of any improvements right now that you can build
So
with zero of every resource,
yes, but
right? Because you have to pay to buy them.
you can always chop. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
chop
and it's
wood
not
and
saying
start a
that
mine.
he can't fix that to some degree, but it's fairly problematic to be this low on to be negative on so many,
Yes,
because it limits his ability to build the ones that he needs when he needs them, because then he has to sell and buy at an even higher inefficiency to get back into
yes,
it. So
it is
yeah.
not a good spot to be. I would actually love to see him take that free camel archer because compo he's not going to be able to support right now. Although
Yeah.
compo could be very useful because it does get that free ballista, which is insanely strong because the ballista has plus 100% attack versus infantry. But he also doesn't have a road network and eco. Like the camel archer gives him a 5 strength unit now that is valuable, and a ranged unit which he doesn't really have. I guess does he have a slinger anywhere? I don't think he has any slingers. Yeah, no slingers. He does have trapping though, right? Yeah, he has trapping because in the door. So yeah, and he has the tech advantage, so you can easily grab that free camel archer card. Um, like it's an
And a
extra
range unit
unit.
would be really nice too for taking these cities
Exactly.
too, especially
Yep.
since his opponent doesn't have much to fire back with, right? We just saw a
Yep.
slinger tech from him, right?
Yeah, but we definitely have a game now. Around turn 40, looks like we're having collision, which I think, like general rule of thumb, I think is something like tiles between capital plus or minus 5 years for collision. I think in terms of turn of collision.
Mm.
Apart from like insane rushes where someone just settles. Like one thing we could have seen this game is someone just settling along the coast and saying, hello, I have
Yeah,
coastal
it's
movement along the
interesting.
coast and I'm just coming directly to kill you. So
Where can we see the impact of the religion right now, what it's doing? So if I hover it itself, I can see, can I see?
yeah, so the way the religion works is it directly modifies family opinion. So for example, here the Ryder
Yep.
family is currently at plus 167 because they've converted to Judaism. And that 167, 74 of it is from our religion's opinion of you.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah, but there's also tenets of the religion, right?
yes, no
And
one has enacted any theologies. So the way
gotcha.
you enact
That's what
theology
I
is
wanted to
you
know.
get a disciple and then you pay 200 civics for the first tier of theology, or 400 for the next tier, or 600 for the last tier. And then that gives a benefit to all cities with that religion.
Yeah, the problem with playing a million different games is every different game has different numbers and different rules, right? So
Yes,
by the time you come back to one that you haven't played in a while, you've forgotten them all. So
absolutely. Yeah. Fortunately, I think the nice thing that Old World has done so far is like the
their
ru-
tooltips are so good.
their tooltips are amazing, and also the core fundamental interactions of the game have not changed. Like the DLCs add like additional events and additional changes and like new civs, but like it isn't changing. Like for example, Paradox games, I feel like when I like Stellaris has been redesigned 4 freaking times at this point, where it's just like I
Yeah.
played 2 patches like 2 years
Yep.
ago, and I don't even remember. Like the game has just everything is different. Where Old World has not. Like the core fundamental bones of the game are consistent, and that helps a lot, I think, for getting back into it. Because you just have to learn small adjustments that have changed and not like whole new systems.
Sure. Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know. Sometimes the details change,
of
which,
course,
as you
which
say,
can
is not
matter.
a full remake, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So 4 laws on the way. He does have 6 years on this wonder. He is getting barracks here. He is 5 years away from culture. He
Yeah,
has
the
two laws. Navigation will be his third law. He could draw into. He can't draw into another law, sadly. So it's going to be ways. Go ahead.
It's amusing that probably the thing that has hurt his empire the most is his leader choice. Like, if he just hadn't have this stupid leader, he'd have been in a much better shape. He'd still have this economy. He'd have a much better science stuff. And then
Yeah.
he almost wants this leader in like his next leader. But like this leader with this timing, the let's say that he continues on this trajectory, right, where he's getting back into the game. His resources are very good. He's got a little bit more in the cities. He's gonna start putting units on the front now that they've connected with each other. Units are gonna have to be something they both take into consideration. This timing is when you want a really high training rate leader, right, to be
Yes.
either on the field cleaning stuff up and also taking advantage of that zealot bonus. But his leader's gonna die here shortly. So he does have another military leader following it up, but it's not quite the same level of military power over there with the -2 compared to the +8, you know. So
Yeah,
it's funny.
he did move his leader over or his leaders over here in this city. He does have that civics for enlist if need be. He does have the extra move from the leader from being a zealot. I wonder if he's going to actually forward settle this middle site, because that settler is not far away. It can force march next turn, and then just settle the middle site. It'll be a very aggressive
Again,
settle.
that's his strongest unit. That would make the
Yeah,
most sense. It's
yeah.
literally putting his tankiest guy right where he
Yep.
wants it and protects all the rest of his team.
Yeah, and denies that middle site, and like then Egypt, I think is.
Remind me of the in-city bonuses that you get. It's like something to do with the. Is it in the city of is the family happiness the thing that determines the bonuses you get for being inside a city's borders, or is it more complicated? Is it like family faction combined with unit faction type, right?
Yeah, so I think Devs, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it is a 10% bonus for being in the family's borders for that family. And then Sentinel, of course, has an additional, hunters, which are not on this map, have additional 20% strength in national territory. So I don't think there's a national territory bonus by itself. I think it's just by the families, but I will.
But there's also some other benefits too. You can heal naturally inside them,
Yes,
right? So if you don't take an
heal.
action, it's like a passive heal. And if you do take an action, it's like a 5-point active heal, right?
Yeah, so here's a, let me see if I can find a nice example. So here, if I pull this warrior and attack this warrior, it does 7 damage outside family borders, and then I can't find another. Well, we can just, maybe there's, let me see here. We have this worker, right? So we'll use this worker as an example. We got this warrior, 9 damage to a worker outside borders, and then 8 damage to a worker inside borders. But 9 damage to this worker that's not in its own family's borders. So it is I think plus 10% for.
You might be able to see that on the family too. There's somewhere that shows you the actual what the actual standing bonuses do. I'm not actually sure where it is at this point, but
yeah, it shows
at the top. So if you hover the family and then hover the family rating, there's actually a bonus listed at the top right there.
Yes. Yeah. So you're absolutely correct. There is also a bonus here, 10 strength for family happiness as well. But then there's also a territory bonus as well, which was what I was describing. So
Gotcha.
So like this is a rider city. So rider units will get 10% strength for being in rider terrain. And then because riders are also happy, there's another 10%. Or riders are friendly, there's another 10%. So good opinion management from Hati here, because his rider units, even though they are only 4 strength, like they are relatively stronger in that terrain.
And there's a lot of these little bonuses in this game. Between those, plus the generals, plus the promotions, there's going to be ways that even when you're down a tech tier like this, swords, basic warriors versus spearmen, there's still some ways to get those bonuses a little bit more in your favor.
Yes, it is definitely a game with lots of little small bonuses that makes it really hard to like optimize for it, which I think is good because you have to kind of go off of. You can't easily calculate because there's just so many things, and of course the game shows you what stuff does. So you can plan out your battles, but like, lots of little things. I think
what you're trying to say is there's lots of different ways to approach that, as opposed to just
there's no one way, right? So it's not just like always pick this promotion and you're done. Especially since a lot of the promotions are situational, right?
Like, in fun games,
like amphibious would be really good here, right? So to attack across the rivers, and I think Siomumi points out the river network is this is something that happens on this map, right? On the coastal rain basin, the rivers kind of run from the mountains to the shore, which means lots of north-south rivers for great north-south movement and lots of connection for your cities, but no real easy east-west movement. So I'd love to see some roading, especially from Hati, just building a road east to easily be able to get stuff to the front lines. And indeed, Hati is moving in here and settling. He force marched this and is settling that city in your face, rider city, on horses, with wheat.
Egypt's lost there in the sense because they had that territory, they cleared that. They just didn't leave a unit on the city.
They did not. They cleared the city and then walked away. Although most of the clearing, I guess, was done by Hati before Egypt attacked and killed that unit with a stun. But they didn't finish because they were at peace at the time with the Scythians. But then the Scythian invasion happened. Also, Hati is now stronger, so Egypt is weaker. So Hati also has a military advantage. Of course, Egypt should be where they have a tech advantage because erudite. I can show the science graph for folks in chat. So the science graph is, we don't yet have solvers changed to show us the total area under the curve. I think that's coming next patch. But as you can see, it is a pretty massive lead for Egypt, although the death of the leader was definitely a big spike down, and Hati has
And a
been
shrinking lead, though.
consistently getting better, right? Or Egypt is also
Yeah.
getting better, but yeah. And also Hati
Yeah.
is doing military production in their military cities, which you'd love to see, and I guess patrons are now a military city. And then the back line is like improving stuff. We got a Jewish disciple coming out, which might see an early theology here to help spread, or maybe he can. Yeah, I think the only reason to do a disciple would be help
Look at
spread.
Egyptian's production queue, though.
Look at Egypt's what?
So swap over to
Yeah.
Egypt for a second. And as you say, as you were pointing out about Hati, which I think is a good recap, compare that to Egypt right now. Not a single military unit being built empire-wide.
Not a single military unit being built, and your opponent is stronger and has just forward settled.
Yeah.
That
That's a
is
spooky
that's a very
spot to be in.
greedy that's a very greedy spot to be. But I mean, in Egypt's defense, how would they afford any military units right
Yeah,
now?
and their economy is turning around. We were looking at
Yeah.
almost pure negatives like a couple turns ago, and now it's still not great, but it is turning around. So there's something to be said about that. But
Yes, they're investing, and they're at 9 worker units now versus let's see how many for Hati. Hati is at 7, so they're pulling ahead in the worker count. They are behind city-wise, 9 cities to 6 cities. So
wasn't it 8?
it was 8, but Hati just found
Oh,
a
they
middle
just said
city.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solver says in chat the Hati play is to spread Judaism to the newest city. Harvest the lavender. You can ideally the lavender would have been in borders, and you can build on the lavender because if you build it, you get a direct 50 culture. But you could just harvest.
Tell me that tech is still land consolidation to get anything on.
It is, yes. Land consolidation.
So you're
is
still never. So Hadi will never be able to do that. Not in our lifetime. Your kid's lifetime. Your child's lifetime. Will they be able to get those?
So what you could do is you could obviously harvest with a scout, and that will give you. I need to be selecting Hati. You could harvest with a scout, and that would give you 10 civics, 10 culture in that city. The other thing you could do is if you expand borders, you can just build an urban improvement on the lavender. That destroys the lavender and turns the lavender into 50 culture instantly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, like.
And it's also passive culture per turn if it's in your borders.
If it's in your borders, it's like 1 culture per turn. So unless you're going to get land consolidation, like you should probably just build on top of it. I think Scientific really loves that tech.
Well, it's only 2 if it's improved, right? So
yes, it is only 2.
Is it +2? No,
but then you could get the specialist in it, and then you can put a monastery next to it to get even like this is a beautiful monastery spot, right? Because you'll have 2 lavender that get scaled. I think monasteries are +40, +60. I don't remember offhand. They are +60% for groves, and of course scale specialist as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think it always just amused me the tech location of land consolidation for those resources compared to the tech location for every other resource. It's always amused me how far away that was. So,
yes.
And yet again, like the Hati with their science will never have the science to harvest lavender. That is just beyond their projected technological advancement as a civilization. So
yeah, so it's like, I mean, Kampa is 4 years away here from Egypt. They didn't go for that camel archer to solve problems now. We have our first light chariot started. He's 6 is economy enough to get that. So that's going to be a 6 strength unique unit with range. So that should probably hold any aggression. I'm curious to see does Hati have another settler in the works? I don't see one. Let's actually flip back over to Hati to see what he does this turn, because there's just 1 city site left. So it's, I guess, 8 per side and then 2 in the middle. His zealot is still hale and hearty at 60. He can convert Judaism. He has set Judaism as a state religion. He could get autonomous rule with Zenobia. He also is getting the Zenobia event to get a judge here and autonomous rule in this forward city. We'll see if they pick that. And then has a choice of ambitions, 5 developing cities, 4 Odeons, which I think is tough because I don't think he has drama. Yeah, he does not have drama or some XP. So King Iaya the Lion, still alive, not even ill, works out every day.
Of course he does. There's no soft matter in his skull to protect, right? It's just bone. He's fucking gonna be there forever.
Exactly. And notice Egypt is fortifying here. Interestingly, on this side of the river, would have liked to see the fortify on the other side of the river to really dissuade. But I guess more retaliation damage this way. And yeah, it looks like Egypt is just going to let Hati do this. Curious to see who gets this last Scythian site here, if anyone, or if they'll just continue attacking either way, because I think both players are at war now. We got a garrison on the way, so he's definitely Not really sure what he's doing with the garrison here because there's no horses. Generally, I don't particularly favor garrisons outside of unique units at this point. I don't think the 5.5 orders is worth the 50 stone. Whereas I will with order shrines everywhere. Still 0.5 orders, but it's also shrines. So it spreads. He is getting another settler in the cap. So we might see Hati take this site and have it the pretty dominant 10 cities to 6. But of course, Egypt does have that huge tech lead.
Yeah. It's going to be something to overcome. But again, tech in this game, there's not so many different tiers of units that the advantage tech gives is not always quite as straightforward as you might assume.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely curious to see what.
Although I gotta say, I don't have some of the more recent DLCs, so I don't really know how that plays out. Has anything changed in the DLC pattern that might make tech more of a consideration than I'd be worried about otherwise?
Not particularly. I mean, I think we don't have any new units being added or anything like that, so the same units are still there. And the things, I guess the techs have just added. I guess there have been new units in that new unique units, but they work just like the old unique units, just do different things.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the core bones of the game are still recognizably the same. So
take a look at these promotions while we have a little bit dead time here.
Yeah.
It does look like Egypt's done a decent job of getting most of their troops double promoted, or some of them double promoted anyways. I'm looking across the Hadi stuff, looks a little less, or maybe the experience is a bit more spread out. It's a better way of looking at that.
Yeah.
What have they chosen? Brave and Bloodthirsty, a lot of the stuff to begin with. Ranger. Fierce.
Egypt also has a slight order lead. Worth noting, they're 28 orders, largely I think because they don't have the robust leader. They just have a better order economy. They did pick polytheism, which does let them build that order shrine everywhere, although I don't think they have. Looks like they're fortifying the city.
Again, huh?
Yeah, they're at 9 workers. Their younger child, they're going another tactic student in succession, and their younger child will have a choice of some trait inherited from their mother. Let's take a look at what Hati's succession looks like. Ooh, unfortunately, Hati, their heir, the tactician, is severely ill. So we might see that guy die on us, which means then we'll have a philosophy student, which might actually be potentially good for him, depending on what we get.
It would be funny if they had chosen Zealot as their primary leader, not taking advantage of that well, and then the game kills off their next military heir and inevitably gives them science whether they like it or not. I think that would be very fitting for this game.
Yeah, so I think Hati still can't rush with their Zealot leader anywhere, which is awkward. The Zealot leader is not ill, it's just the heir that's ill. So hopefully Hati, 3 years away, and they can rush in this site. Let's see what Egypt's doing. They're upgrading to spears. I'm
a bit lost for why that is the case. So how does the Zealot leader interact with it's the religion and developing is what we need, right? So the problem is they don't have developing, but they do have religion in their only site that has
religion.
I think I got it.
Yeah, Judaism needs to spread, and they need developing. So
he didn't have to be the governor, which was the part I was wondering about. He just has to be as the leader of the empire.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. The rule with Zealot is you can rush anywhere that you have your state religion, and you still need the conditions for rushing, which is developing. All right, so Egypt, family opinion, pretty good. Rider, I think both have very happy riders. That light chariot, 4 years away, that's definitely going to be a huge impact on the battle, especially on a tactician. Would love to see that warrior or the tactician leader moved off that spear onto that light chariot, because it has 2 ranged, and there's nothing like a 2-range stun with insane mobility. Go ahead.
Did see all those spears get upgraded and moved behind the river in that central city too.
Yep. Good choice
nicer
there.
Defensive. Yep.
Yeah.
And upgraded. I mean, that's a fair chunk of resources spent to upgrade. I think it was 2 warriors into 2 more spears.
Yeah. So the warrior can only hit 2 damage across the river, but then 5 if they can get around. So yeah, much harder to kill. And Hati really doesn't have very many range units, so he's getting slingers. And Egypt is still weaker. Although he's starting some slingers back here in his cleric's seat. All right, let's swap over to Blaj and Hati. Chat didn't show up every time I swapped. You can go away, chat, anytime now. Okay, and we have a tech choice. He just did get navigation. Doesn't quite have he already enacted serfdom, so he did have the civics for that. Does have salt that he can send around. Would love to see salt being assigned, especially since salt is something riders like. I would love to see it assigned to somewhere that he wants to boost culture. Perhaps his rider seat could get some salt, which would speed it up by 3 culture a turn, which would be very good. Um, yeah. So let's see here. Curious to see what he does
Yeah.
tech choice wise. I would love to see phalanx, maybe compo. I'm not sure.
Well, what do you think his long game looks like? So maybe there was a little bit of momentum here, and he's changed the city count into his favor, which has been solid. His early worker count is again by Egypt again. I think that's correct, anyways. So what does he do from here? How does he get back in the tech game? Because he can't be behind tech forever unless he's doing timing pushes with units he has, and he hasn't done that, right? I think
Yeah.
that fortification of spears across the river is going to hold that position at least from what he has now. So how does he get back in this science-wise?
It's a great question. His heir, by the way, did die, so he lost his tactician heir from that severely ill. He has spread his Judaism using a disciple into his capital, which is an interesting choice, considering his capital doesn't have horses, but that means he can now rush in his capital. Maybe he'll rush some specialists. I think it's a good question. I mean, I think at this point he needs to invest in specialists. He's only really done rural specialists in his capital. There's lots of rural specialists, which is helping with the science, so it's not terrible. I'd love to see some urban specialists. Don't see any urban specialists he can build except for, I guess, officers. So he doesn't have an officer yet, but he's not building a Rex. He just finished a Rex actually in his capital, and he is starting an apprentice officer, which is great. So that's one way there. Yeah, I mean, I think probably needs to invest in the big science techs are really monasticism, which is out of reach, drama for poets for the early culture and science. Obviously, scholarship is up there as well. Architecture is now a very good science tech, but also pretty deep. Aristocracy is a great early culture tech or early science tech because centralization gives you two science per your capital city's culture level, and usually capital cities have pretty good culture. But yeah, I think he just needs to do kind of the core fundamentals. I think one thing for players coming from single player, especially playing without competitive mode, you can get a lot of science just from your leaders. So you can kind of coast off leaders, but then you need to I think multiplayer forces you to invest more in kind of empire and city science. One other thing he could do for science is he could get some theologies on Judaism that can give him more science as well, based on specialists, or even the one that gives you science per city or something like that. So the gap is now 53 for Egypt versus 34 for Hati. So it's closing, but I think I agree with you. Like the choice of Zealot
Although
early wasn't really he didn't play to the Zealot
this
strengths. Go ahead.
each tier of the tech goes up by quite a lot, right? So if I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
right now on the tech tree, and I'm not sure if I can't remember if there's discounts in this game for having the
There are
most
no
tech or
discounts.
not,
No.
but it's 400 to 200 to 120 counting backwards
Yep.
from Portcullis point. So in other words, the gap in science gets less meaningful as the errors get further along because it's more science per one of these techs, right? So then the
Yes.
raw number of techs that Egypt will be ahead will be reduced if this is the ratio they maintain at. So in other words, the science lead is less scary now than it was before, even though it hasn't been
Yes.
fulfilled, right?
Egypt, to your point, has not gone up to 100 science, right? They have stopped their growth. So the gap because as long as the gap is the same numerically and not the same percentage wise, like we're in good shape because the techs even out in that sense. And I pinged you a link to my tech tree calculator as well,
Yeah, grab that.
which
Cool.
you can use for exploring techs, which is kind of fun, just to help visualize how much stuff costs, um, and timing attacks and builds and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that light chariot in 3 years, Egypt, comp bow, another settler coming out. Oh, he still hasn't settled this site. Remember, I think 15 turns ago I was complaining he didn't have a settler for this. I think he forgot about this site. Because
Yeah.
that's kind of inexcusable to not have settled that for so long. It's so important to like make sure you have a settler for where you clear a site. Oh, and there's also the Scythian site hanging out over here. Hati has cleared the mirror, but Egypt has not. So curious to
Hmm.
see how Egypt will. So Egypt can get up to 8 cities as well on their side, but they haven't. Let's see what Hati
Yeah,
does
I
this
think
turn.
there's a follow-up to my the conversation we're having about science there's a minute ago that I wanted to hit too,
Yeah.
which is if the Hati really, if you think that there isn't really a science catch-up that they have here, that as you described it, they really need to focus on the fundamentals that they clearly don't know, or they would have focused on those fundamentals, right? So if we're not
Hmm.
going to see that, is there perhaps can they aim for a more timing kind of terminal push kind of thought process here? Is there a single impactful or maybe two impactful techs they can grab immediately that lets them fight at least for a while without having to fix science across the empire?
Yeah, so I think they've chosen Phalanx, which I think is the right call, given that a light chariot is coming out, so they'll be able to turn their warriors into, and they have a lot of warriors as well, 8 warriors, I think. So all those can become spears. They mostly have the economy to be able to support that with some iron and lots of money in the bank, and they can of course chop wood. So I think Phalanx is the right short-term play here, and like I need a solution. They have spears, I don't have spears. One other choice they could go, although it's not in the draw right now, is steel. Steel axemen do extra damage to spears, which can hold as well. Yeah, I think anything like with 5 strength, activating your 5 strength units, potentially very valuable. He is clear cutting here, getting lots of wood. So I'm expecting like a spear upgrade off this Phalanx in 5 years, which should
Do you remember
help.
the damage returns on power? So when you say, so we look at I got to
Yeah.
find a unpromoted warrior. If I'm looking right there, unpromoted warrior seems to be 4 base, right? And you're saying base 5, 25% from those
Yep.
numbers. What is it? Does that translate into a 25% damage bonus or something different?
Yeah, so the combat formula is it's attack divided by defense times 6, rounded in favor of the stronger unit. And I linked you a tab of the spreadsheet that has a beautiful chart.
Thanks. Oh, that's what I want to see. I want to see the
Yeah,
graph.
that shows
Perfect.
you how that works. It's base 6 damage basically. So like 5 attacker versus 4 damage does 8. Versus a 6 strength attacker versus a 4 damage, 4 defense defender is 9, right? And then like 8 versus, so I think the like unpromoted it goes 6 for equal, 8 for 5 versus 4, 9 for 6 versus 4, and then 12 for 8 versus 4, and then of course 10
Okay,
is
so
15
looking
versus
from
4.
then the translation to 4 from 5, what that actually is a 6 to, you said a 6 to 8 looking at
Yeah.
these numbers here.
Yep.
So, which is another 2 on 6. Okay, so,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's important the other way as round, right? Because 4 attacking into 5 is only 4 damage, whereas 5 attacking into 5 is 6. So, like,
I'm not going to be able to pretend to wrap that in my head on the fly like this. So I now have your link, and I just wanted
yeah.
I wanted to get a sense of how impactful it is. Because you say 5 to 4, it doesn't sound like much,
It
but
yeah
actually looking at these numbers is
it
fairly
is
significant.
pretty impactful, right? Equal units just deal
Yeah.
6, but then if it's a 5 hitting a 4, it does 8, but only gets hit for 4 in a turn. So like you're equally trading, and now suddenly you have a huge 4-point advantage. Yeah, I should probably do a video on like how does damage work in Old World, because it's very important because everything relies on it, and of course all this gets modified by
33% is
bonus.
the number that, like the
Yes.
short answer to that,
Yep.
which is interesting. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
So 1 year for Compo for Egypt. He does have some chopping available. He has a choice of Robust, Eloquent, and Delver in his rider seat capital. Probably going to expect Robust, although Eloquent might also be an interesting choice to get officers up faster. I probably actually would choose Eloquent because you already have a great orator there, and that can get you apprentice officers even faster with Eloquent, because that's like 5 extra civics, which is a huge civics boost for that city. Eloquent is just so good on a governor. He's running council in his capital, presumably for civics, but I'm not sure why. Maybe he wants to adopt a state religion. I think that's what he's using it to get in council to get state religion next turn. His Zorro has spread to 3 cities off 5%. And
Lucky.
they're saying, let's go to turn 50. That seems reasonable for part 1.
Yeah.
Players will figure out another time to continue. And yeah, that's turn 50 in just under 3 hours, or about 4 hours. That sounds pretty 3 hours. That seems reasonable. So exciting game. And yeah, definitely looks like advantage Egypt, but Hati is definitely not out of it yet, and has the superior military, which is definitely what you want to be at when your opponent is more tech than you are. You never want to be in a situation where someone is stronger and smarter.
I wouldn't know.
Well played, sir.
Also, the city count, the other thing that
The city
Hati has
count,
going for them.
yes.
Yeah.
Order advantage, though. I think order advantage is currently for Egypt. Egypt is at, oh no, actually they're about equal orders, 28. I really wish that order chart showed me orders before improvement construction, since it does vary depending on how many improvements they're building, or at least they're an option to show. Let's see what Egypt does on their turn here. This is start of turn 46 because Egypt was player 1. Also somewhat late for Blaj, I guess, whatever time zone they're in. Global tournament, so that's always fun. This autonomous city is just so happy from being autonomous. All right, no,
Yeah, it's funny.
I guess it's from chain running these festivals, which give happiness. Okay, that's where. It is 7 autonomous rule, so a festival isn't bad because it does give them growth, and they are getting extra science per citizen. They did move, or I guess Zenobia died, or got moved. No, Zenobia is now the Grand Vizier. I missed this.
I missed that too.
Inspiring. So that's actually kind of big for Egypt because that means all these cities, 1, 2, 3, 4, have an inspiring governor. So 2 culture per year, and bold and educated. So everything's getting scaled
Yeah,
pretty
but
hard.
look though, look what's coming out of that. I mean, they're building a slinger. This is Egypt. They have their unique unit
Yes.
accessible. They have comp bows in 1 turn, and they don't need a slinger. They need lots of other things besides slingers. I mean, I suppose the slinger can be upgraded, perhaps. I don't remember the upgrade cost. Wooden, presumably food.
Yeah,
But
the cost is the same as just building the unit directly, right? Honestly, you could have just waited and then directly built the
yeah,
archer
yeah,
and save yourself some 50 stone.
yeah.
But yeah, and I guess the settler was also from the Grand Vizier because he forgot about the city site and the Grand Vizier did not.
That's
Um,
funny.
that's funny. But yeah, so there's a Grand Vizier playing. But yeah, I personally don't love losing control of my production queues just because,
You don't say.
yeah, it's very important to maintain.
Yeah, especially at war with another player in a tournament, in a 1v1 tournament, right? Like you really don't
Yes.
want
Oh
you
no,
don't want your decisions being suboptimal.
severely ill on Hati's leader. Um,
Uh-oh.
so,
Is
and
it finally time?
the princess is getting tutored. He is also wisely building Jewish disciples in his high growth capital here. So he'll be able to manually spread. Would love to see him actually build that disciple and get a promo like mythology or legalism so that he gets additional theology, so he gets additional spread passively. He's kind of gotten a
I'd like
little unlucky. Go ahead.
I'd like to see him. His rider capital is developing now, and he's only got a couple turns of his
Potentially,
main leader left, right? It needs to be now or never if he's gonna rush with training, right?
yeah. So maybe finish that apprentice officer and then rush up to an elder officer. Why not, right? Like you've got a huge training bank, and like you're not going to be able to do
Yeah,
that later.
yeah.
Um, and turning training into an elder officer seems pretty good. Also helps the science thing because elder officer is for science. So
Yep. They give do they give experience as well? So they give local training rate, which equates to
they
unit
do get
timing.
experience, yes.
Yeah, yeah, experience
So
too.
elder
So lots of
officer is
benefits.
plus 50 XP for a new unit. So if you have 2 elder officers, that's equivalent to a 1 XP level on that. I think master officer is just 20. So
Gotcha.
yeah, the classic kind of build is you have 2 barracks and 2 ranges, and then you have 2 elder officers for the plus 100 XP, and then 2 apprentice officers for the extra plus 2 training. Because that's a decent build. You don't have to rush too much just to get master and officer up. Usually you want to hard build apprentices and then rush the masters. Import horses from Egypt over here. Keep an eye on Hati's leader to see if that severely ill goes away or turns into doomed. Looks like Princess Nefereti, a 14-year-old, has decided to become an archer and has a choice of Vigilant or Highlander. Highlander can be pretty good because there are some hills, and that is actually quite a lot of damage. He also does have this Light Chariot out, which starts with a healer and starts with 1 extra level, and he actually got Highlander on the Light Chariot. The extra level is coming from this shrine, the Shrine of Neith, which gives ranged units plus 1 level. So it's as if
That's pretty
it's
nice.
XP. So yeah, it's already coming out. That's going to be a really tanky unit. And he wisely put his tactician leader on this. So now he has a ranged stun. This is a terrifying unit. And
It's hidden in trees, right?
and all his ranged units, including this one, can hide in trees. He's spending more training into promotions here. Looks like he's just holding here. Does he have vision? He does have vision. Wait, whose vision I'm at? Yeah, I'm on Egypt's vision. Egypt has really good vision. He's got the scout here, so he knows that Hati is clearing the central Scythian site. There's still this southeastern Scythian site. Where
How
is
does
Hati's settler?
the tactician invisibility work? Is it the same as the scout invisibility, or is it? I thought it was like if you're next to them, they're revealed with
Nope,
tactician
it's the
invisibility.
same as scout invisibility.
Okay.
They're hidden as long as they don't attack. They can move. They can promo. They
But how
can
does it reset after an attack?
Uh, it
Just next turn go back invisible, or
while they are on attack cooldown. So if let's say this guy's in a forest, he attacks here, they'll be visible. That guy can attack again, and then if he doesn't attack, he just goes invisible.
I see.
So
It's actually very,
very
uh,
useful. Yeah.
very dangerous right now because that means if a unit doesn't die essentially in a round, it doesn't die at all because it can just go invisible if it wants to and stay invisible.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Of course, you know it's still there. So
sure.
if
But
you
your
want
counterplay
it,
is a little limited. I mean, I guess if you can bring
yeah,
up and chop on it, but
well, the chop will just punt it somewhere else, and it'll stay hidden. So that won't help. But you could just surround it, and then wait for the tactician to die. I don't know. There's
you
no
summon a
real.
volcano on it.
Yeah. Okay, so Egypt has visibility of this. This
Yeah, it's a great site.
he also has a visit somehow. I guess the scout is giving him visibility of this settler, so he knows the settler is there. I think Hati, thanks to Zealot, assuming that Zealot doesn't die, which it won't, he can actually get this to settle this turn. Maybe I think so. We'll see next turn. But I would love to see a force march from Hati to settle this as soon as he clears this. Can he actually clear this next turn? He cannot. He doesn't have enough to clear it next turn.
Remind me the impact of Zealot. It's one extra.
It's one extra fatigue.
right?
It's just
Okay.
like Rome. Yeah.
So it translates to 2 extra actions off a force march, potentially, or 2 extra.
Yes, yeah, it just gives you additional distance. Swift does the same thing, and interestingly, Egypt is getting, thanks to his amazing science lead, is getting a free ballista card off that combo. Also, no ambassador. Let's see what Hati does. Definitely heating up a little bit. Part 2 is going to be pretty intense here. So Yazda has just finished. He has the choice of his heir becoming an artist or estranged from the leader. The leader is still severely ill. It did not tick over. His other child can become a politics student. And he actually went for... what did he pick for that event? He went tactics student on that child. And then his heir did become an artist. For some reason, it's not showing on here, interestingly. Just showing philosophy students, not showing artists. But okay, she is an artist. So that'll be interesting. Curious to see and he is doing a good job of tutoring her as well. You can tutor, this is something for the religion expansion. You can tutor using religious clergy, which is nice. So if you don't have courtiers.
Is that an addition? Or is it, can you,
it's
an addition.
It's not an addition. It's as if it were a courtier. So
I see.
So the reason that's handy is if you have an ambassador, you can actually recruit. You can summon forth, or you can ask someone to become member of clergy, which means you can always have someone to tutor available. Because unlike courtiers, you don't really have control over courtiers. All right, so Hati is moving in here, and he's going to try to clear this site, which is, to me, feels really risky, given that he has complete vision of Egypt here. Thanks to the scout. He also knows there's a tactician on a light chariot leader, which can stun and deal 10 HP to a unit in trees. Can Hati kill? Can he force? He can come. Okay, so I think what he's going to do is going to kill this, clear this site, and then force march and settle. And I think he has enough orders for that. He might have to burn training. Okay, so that'll get him.
I would have liked to have seen him moving his warriors last turn and the ones in the southern city to a position they could actually help. Because right now there's like 2 turns out, really.
Yeah, his units are kind of spread out, and Egypt's are well concentrated. He obviously has more units than Egypt. Egypt is still weaker, but 4 turns left. What did he do? Oh no, he's not going to clear it this turn, is he? Yeah, I think he needed to settle this turn. I don't think he can safely wait a turn. Egypt is just going to come up.
These are nasty little spears too. So they are fierce. So anti-infantry, fighting all infantry.
Yeah, this he's going to lose all these. Yeah. Oh, he moved up a slinger.
I'd like to see Egypt. What's Egypt's training at 500? I'd like to see some generals go down this turn on like that forward spear, the one that's closest. Yeah. What do you think he can do to like further make this gap in power appear here?
At least the concentrated force, right? So.
Yeah, because this could be a very decisive hit here, right? Either he steals a city from the player, or kills a bunch of units, or forces, death, like losses and then stuns on the way out, kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot of options for good stuff for Egypt there.
Let's see what Egypt's. Can he rush this light chariot? He does not have the civics for it, so potentially has another light chariot coming out. Yeah, let's see what Egypt does here, because this is potentially a decisive turn. Interestingly, go ahead.
The Hadi's leader being the most forward unit there is also sketchy, right? Because again, because of that event.
Yes, the event, and also like I would love to see like the Hotties leader on a more protected slinger, because like what if he enlists this light chariot? That could be really decisive, assuming he can kill
Yeah.
the light chariot, which I don't think he can.
Yeah,
But
exactly. And to your point there, maybe not super clear for if you're just tuning in or something like that, which is it takes a turn to equip that general, and it takes a full action for the unit, right? So the unit
yeah,
you can't put a zealot leader who is unassigned onto a unit and then attack with that unit. It takes a full turn and they can react to that. So
Egypt
if your
is moving
zealot
in.
unit,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
just how that's interesting. No, this is action for a second. Let's commentate that. I'll come back to the thought.
Yeah, Egypt is
So
moving
spear
in.
going
So
in.
they cleared the site and took the site. Like,
Honestly, I don't even like that much.
I would have left
I
the
like some more
site.
units here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We got more. We're focusing on the leader.
Is that a force march too? I think it was
They are
down to
forced marches.
400.
Yeah. So unfortunately, like all this is just slightly. One thing Egypt could have done last turn was like just one moves over just to not have to
Yeah.
force march. So he's burned 200. Yeah. Here's another force march.
And before he force marches everything like this too, he needs to get that leader. He needs his leader to stun something for sure.
He needs his leader. He needs to figure out what am I stunning, what am I killing. Here's the stun on the zealot. Okay, so he's going to kill the zealot. Here's another force march. This one didn't need a force march. This is another force march. Where is this going? Oh, he's out of orders. So that doesn't feel that impactful, but he did take the site. So this was I was like, I think Hati needs to settle the city last site, especially since he had a scout seeing what was there.
I mean, these are going to be these. He did get them to all the urban sites, right? Which I believe are bonuses for defending
Infantry,
bonuses
yeah.
for infantry,
Yep.
right? So those are
10%,
pretty
I think.
annoying locations.
Or 25%.
His tactician is on a decent spot for his bonuses too, right? Both the hill bonus.
Yep. Highlander,
Yeah.
which is good. No flanking, but
And those warriors to the south, they can be force marched, I suppose, but they're not in good position otherwise. So it's going to be very order intensive to get those southern Hati warriors to be a part of this fight this turn.
I think honestly at this point Hati just falls back. You just retreat to your
He needs
city.
to can he reassign his stun general to a different unit?
Don't believe so. I don't know.
Okay.
And his leader is now doomed.
Well, that might favor that for him here. His leader, him getting some death event might not actually be bad right now, right?
Well, his leader is doomed, so
anyways,
I don't think we've seen a single rush with training anywhere. So
no, but I mean, so while his leader's doomed, what happens? So his leader won't die till next turn, right? Because it's his turn, his leader's doomed, right? So it's going to be the next turn that it would die. So what happens if Egypt kills his leader now? Can it still trigger?
It could still trigger death event. So yeah. It wouldn't matter. But yeah, doomed is definitely so.
But man, look at those damage projections from his warriors. They're doing, a fifth of a spear's HP.
Yep.
And the spear's counterattacking, or not counterattacking, but if it attacked, does like a third to a quarter.
Yep. Despite the warriors being pretty promoted as well.
Yeah.
You were saying something before the action started?
I've forgotten now what it was.
Okay. Well, no worries. The action started up again.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
fighting it for some reason. I think this should be withdrawing.
He is fighting it. Yeah, that is a great way to lose all those units, especially since there's a tactician that can just stun and like.
With the tactician there, it's very hard to retreat. It kind of argues for putting more in if he's going to fight with those ones there rather than retreat those. So I'm kind of curious if he'll make that decision. I don't think he has enough to win this from this position, but maybe. I mean, he's sitting on 21 orders still right now. He has force marches available. He's got 1,400 training points almost. He's got 5-6 more units south, right?
Yeah,
and then 2 more in the center. I mean, there's a lot of units.
He could flood units here. He will lose that extra fatigue from Zealot when the Zealot goes away. So if he wants to do any long moves, indeed he is there. There we go.
Yeah.
So he did not need to force march, unlike Egypt, although he will next turn because all this stuff. Yeah, so he can potentially kill 1 unit here. Egypt doesn't really have that much there. I guess he can pull another spear in. Hati is doing a good job of focusing all their forces. Would like to see focused fire though. Like you need to kill stuff. Just dealing damage to stuff is not great because it just can run away.
Yeah.
He's not Zoc-locking. All right, he's coming in here. Maybe attack with the slinger. Yep, perfect. Got the kill. Also got the culture because he's running epic still. 3 laws versus 5. Egypt did pick up
6 orders though. So they can buy a couple still. It's expensive use of training, but he
Egypt
can.
has slavery, which I think they got early. They're running vassalage instead of centralization, which is interesting.
Slavery isn't orders anymore, though, right?
It is not orders. It is 4 wood and 4 iron. Sorry, 4 iron and 4 stone per city. So it's actually helping his
Yeah.
economy quite a bit. All
Actually
right, so
surprised how well those warriors have done versus that spear.
they're pretty highly upgraded, but they're going to take a lot of damage, and of course everything gets stunned here, and he's out of orders here. So
I think
I would love
both
to see
players'
him.
moves are hurting them here, right? Because Hadi not taking those warriors, getting a little bit closer last turn, has hurt him this
Yep,
turn.
yep,
And the Egyptian doing the same problem, right? Not like creeping their units a little bit
yep.
towards that the turn before means 2 spears are out of place this turn. That could have been there helping.
Yeah,
And it matters for your line, so you don't get surrounded in focus fire like this. If you're going to be attacked from 2 tiles instead of 3 or 4 tiles, that's a really big difference.
yes, I think it's something newer players can miss because the AI won't punish you for it, but humans will. And you kind of want to move your forces together. You don't want to just send a small party forward and then have it get annihilated. Like this kind of small party from Egypt. Like I'd have liked to see. I mean, yeah. Like I think you
This
just
looks
want.
really favorable for Hadi.
I think so. The stun is going to be big, but obviously these guys can come in as well. Hati does have more forces. Does Egypt have anything in the bank here? He did rush at that light chariot, so he's going to have a light chariot that can potentially get in area, so that will help. Although the Hati forces are hiding mostly in forest, but that light chariot should be able to make it with a forced march. He doesn't have very much training left though.
Remind me in this
Um,
game, if you rush, does it complete this turn or does it put it down to immediately completing next turn?
So it should complete at the start of the turn. So since we're playing on
Okay.
tight, he was able to rush during. I don't know whether like he can do civics or he can do worker moves, scouts, and city queues on his opponent's turn while waiting. He's also getting an archer out of Waset. Um, so we'd love to see a slinger upgrade to an archer, although he doesn't have cash for anything. He just doesn't have very many units as a problem right now. Blaj is just
Yep.
stronger, and as you mentioned before, he was just being very greedy and going very eco heavy. But he does have that light chariot. Will it be enough? Blaj does not have spears yet. And free ballista, which will absolutely annihilate Blaj's units, but he has no roads. So that ballista is going to take forever, apart from this one road in a circle.
God, the alpha though, just we saw what, a full spear and then
Right, here we go.
3/4 of another spear. Was it 2 full spears that died there?
He lost one spear
Only
last
one.
turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, this light chariot can come all the way over here with the force march. So in one turn, and deal insane damage.
Mm-hmm. Also,
Yeah.
2 spears close by to can get in there, maybe even
Yep.
without force marching. Yeah, they can attack those central warriors. We're going to see Pierce be relevant here a couple times too.
Yeah.
There's a couple of lines to attack into here.
He's killed 2 warriors now and just lost that spear. So the warrior with the general, and then he's force marching one here. And then he can lock this one in with another force march. Awkwardly, this is tactician. We decide to move over there. And then this guy's pretty low. Would like to see this guy retreat and heal, honestly. Oh, he's going up there, which feels like a maybe defensive. But he also didn't pull this light chariot in. Would love to see this light chariot, if not a force march, then at least move it towards, because it's such a strong unit. And he did force march and heal this guy back. So but he didn't move this light chariot that he rushed out last turn, which feels like a mistake.
Yeah, he did kill the zealot leader off the field, so there's going to be no conversions, although he would have been doomed and dead anyways.
Yeah.
We'll see if there's an event triggering.
It does not look like an event. So I checked I would have seen the exclamation mark because it would have already shown there.
It looks bloody, but does Hadi have anything more to give? 2 more warriors, I suppose, and the slinger is going to be 3 more units that can reach the front on top of this. That's pretty close.
I think this combat favors Egypt just because he did move that light chariot slightly towards that, so it'll still be able to get there with a force march next turn, but would have loved to see that move. Yeah, I don't know that
Exciting turns
Hati.
to watch.
The problem is that Egypt can stun any unit, right? So
I don't know if that's as impactful here. There's no super unit. There's no really great general here now that the leader's off the board. There's no particularly strong unit. It's just slingers and warriors.
True,
So,
and that unit that stuns does also a shit ton of damage. So
yeah, so you don't necessarily want to waste it on just tapping a unit to stun them. You want to shoot something good. Yeah. I don't know.
Two more turns here, I guess, or maybe one more. And yeah, that is a great point from Siomumi that because he rushed that unit, he will not be able to get a state religion of Zoroastrianism, so he's going to fail that ambition. And then I think he will succeed the barracks ambition because he's just in time with that barracks, but he won't be able
I
to
wonder
adopt the
about
state religion.
how bad is the transition hurt the other legitimacy? Orders didn't go down that much for
Legitimacy
orders.
is so he had plus 60 legitimacy from being the lion, but now it's reduced plus 30. It goes 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5 per hidden
Yep, I meant the
leaders.
impact of it.
Yeah.
So here, like it didn't. I think he was at 28
Three
orders last
orders
turn.
basically. Yeah, 3 orders.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got a lot of.
Have any of his family stuff hurt him? Like, how's the transition?
So
Actually, the riders love this person, so his combat units got a bigger boost.
Yes, although the patrons hate the person, so he could have a regent here, which might be interesting for 2 years. I guess have a regent and with a commander regent. The commander is a general of a warrior. Where is that commander? Right here, I think. Which actually, he can't get a flanking bonus, but I don't know if he's going to take the regent. He's not doing events first, which I think is. I would. Oh, he's going to settle.
That's interesting. That might actually be fairly powerful here.
Where is he going to settle, though? I would love to see the settle close here, I think, but on a hill, maybe? I don't know. The city site itself, he's going to settle close, not on a hill.
He might not have many options with his order count.
He settled there. Okay. I would have liked to see on the hill, personally, but he could have force marched it, but yeah. Now he's fighting in national borders. So if we hover over here...
Why did he? Oh, he had to do it because he had to get those borders cleared to do it. I was going to say, why did he do in that order? But he took all of his actions basically to do that. I mean, he's only got, what, 2 attacks now because of that?
Yes.
And he also put it in the patrons, which are the family that hates him. So those borders are worse than...
Yeah.
Or is it flat 10 bonus?
It's flat. It's flat 10, but he doesn't have any... This should have been a rider city because there's lots of rider units here. This is patrons. So like patron here, if I hover over it says... upset family, but then it says Zalpuan territory plus 10% defense. So it's always family territory plus 10% defense. Not strength, sorry, plus 10% defense. So that is making these units tankier, but given the number of rider units, I would have just said screw it and make it a rider city. Especially since the riders already love you and like, yeah, make all these rider units stronger. Yeah. So he lost 2 and he lost a warrior and a warrior. And he killed a spearman. I don't think he can do any more damage here, but he did get the city down, and and his economy is pretty much in, not full military production, but he's got some slingers coming up. He's got spearmen next turn.
1 turn off spearman. Yeah, that's the exciting thing for him.
Especially upgrade these back 2, and then you can really start doing damage to this guy, although that tactician is going to be really awkward to deal with because it'll reflect onto the spearman, I think, right? Or is it just melee counterattack?
I think it's just melee, isn't it?
Counterattacks during melee. But I think a ranged unit will... Devs, correct me if I'm wrong here. If I have a tactician on a light chariot and I get attacked by a spear, I will still retaliate against the spear because there's a melee attack coming in. Yeah. You won't retaliate against a ranged attack coming in, but even if it's
he's definitely not going to attack that thing then without a spear.
All right, he's interestingly moving a warrior in here. Yeah, and then... I would have... Yeah. Okay, well... Very interesting turn here. Egypt just doesn't have that many forces. So I think you're right. Hati is looking good here. Is going to be able to hold this site. They also did take the regent, who is this guy. And the interesting thing about this is it's a commander, which is plus 100% damage while flanking. So if he moves here and then moves something behind this, he can like annihilate that spear with like a plus, like, yeah. So
sorry, what are the empire bonuses on a commander now?
Commander gives you plus 20% strength as a governor or as a general, but the leader's commander bonus is plus 100% attack if flanking. So if he has another,
yeah, but only when that unit's a general, right?
Correct.
Are there
correct.
Any empire-wide?
The empire-wide ones are plus 10% defense for all infantry, which he only has infantry, and plus 10 XP per year for all units. So you get a lot of XP. Hati has 15 units right now, 5 ranged and 10 melee. So it's making his units tankier for a turn here. And I'm really curious to see what his philosophy student will get in terms of...
I'm really curious to see if the Hati player wants to keep going because it's an interesting part of the game.
Yeah, I think it's pretty late. It's pretty late for them. It is the start of turn 50. And I think he did ask, like, do we pause here? I thought I saw the chat. But it seems to
Yeah, exactly. That
Let's
was
do
the
one more turn,
breadcrumb.
says Blaj.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
that's
you.
what I
Thank you
wondered.
for not leaving us hanging. We all want to see how this resolves. Okay, so we'll do one more turn here to the end of 50, or until the fight ends. Yes, even better. Love to see that.
I mean, honestly, that might be their game, like the
It
ending of this
might be.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of the
Although
problem
I
with
don't think
Egypt. Go ahead.
I don't think Egypt forfeits here. If
No.
or rather, I don't think. Actually, neither of them may forfeit depending on this. So go ahead
Uh,
now.
no, Sabertooth is asking, just checking, we're stopping now. One more. I think Blaj did reply there. Let's do one more turn in chat. Yeah, I mean, Egypt might be in trouble just because they don't have many units. If they lose these units, they're just going to get, I think, as Fluffy likes to call it, or No Legs likes to call it, swarmed by idiots, right? Lots of warriors and lots of slingers, and just so many units that even though he has superior units, he just like doesn't have enough units.
Yeah, this Vizier right now, the 3 autonomous cities hurting Egypt so much here. So if you look at that,
Yeah,
the
settlers.
southeastern one's building a settler, the southern middle one's building a festival, the northern one's building a settler. Like this is
Yeah,
game defining fights here. You can't have
yeah. This
your
one's building a
cities spitting out nothing.
warrior instead of a spearman.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
These are all pretty rough decisions by the Vizier.
Okay, Blaj replied in Discord, quite the cliffhanger. Sabertooth is saying ending now. Let's see if they like. I think they want to do one more. Okay, they've resolved. Okay, in Discord, so we're going to continue here. It's going to restart the timer, I think, and keep going because. Oh, okay, great. Okay, love it, because I want to continue to see how this fight ends. Right, like this is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
I mean,
but the fight is close enough that's hard to call. Like here.
yeah, and Egypt is committing. He force marched this guy in. He does have a free promo, Fierce, which would be very good as well, or Focus.
Is it free though? I know that it's
It takes
available,
an
but
order.
it's an order, right? Yeah,
It's an
that's what I was
order.
wondering.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, he attacks there. Looks like he's. Oh, what? Is that a misclick? Why the hell did he move? Okay, he's moving up there. He's going to kill that, potentially. What else does he have? He has this very injured spear at the back that I don't remember that he healed. Maybe he healed last turn. Event. Looks like ambition event.
Some interesting things happening here too. Maybe because it's been a couple turns of war now, like 2 or 3. All Egypt's workers have finished building, and he hasn't restarted them. He's been spending, so he actually just gets a big order spike this turn, right?
Yes.
Plus 35 this and next turn, which is actually really meaningful when he's got a couple more troops that didn't make it in before. Now, if he doesn't have reinforcements, it's not going to matter much past this turn. But this was a good turn to get extra orders.
Yeah, I think one problem for him is out of training, so he can't make use of those extra orders with the force march. So he just did this very sad spear move that just moved into death range from here. But the spear can't do anything because there's no force march available. Which
How do I see the pips on a unit above it?
You'll see it after a move. So you should see pips there, and then it'll turn orange during a force march. All right, so you got to kill here.
So that one has moved.
Yeah,
but
those are three. And for example, he's moved a scout here, and he's blocking with scouts. Interesting. To try to defend that very injured unit. So he did get, he killed one warrior and then stunned the commander warrior, which is a good choice. But I guess the new leader will inherit next turn anyway. And she is
That's pretty much every single mobile unit outside of workers in Egypt, all of them are now here.
Yeah.
In there. There's no reinforcements. This is it.
This is it. This is all there is. He does have a light
stuff.
He does have a light chariot, which unfortunately he's 16 civics away, 17 civics away from being able to rush. So he'll have to rush next turn, and he's getting a free ballista next turn.
Yeah, free ballista next turn.
He didn't start the timer. Yeah, we can restart the timer. My bad, he says. And yeah, these autonomous cities, such a trap. Like this autonomous rule is 8 at least, so he's getting 8 science out of this. But it's just been chain festivaling, which of course is draining his civics income as well.
Yeah, his own fault for the chain festivals, because the one time he did have an improvement there, it built a stone cutter.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, I mean, this is like I have nothing
there
else
making
to do.
that a little bit better.
Yeah,
he just didn't improve anything there.
Yeah, I would like to see maybe spit out a worker or something. Start it when ready. Okay. And Blaj has plenty of time in the bank, 223 in case. So you can think about how to tactically deal with this. So.
He does need to think though, because he may not know it, and maybe he hasn't checked those. I haven't looked to see how it said. If it still says Egypt as weaker in units to him. So he should know that he's got at least more units, and that's combat strength calculation, right? So more power there too.
Leader choice. He can be a scholar, a zealot, or a builder. I think this is where you go zealot, because you want that
Yes.
right now.
Is his leader on the board too? Is that the stunned one?
No, she's so the stun one is the commander regent, but the new leader, she's 17. So she won't inherit until next turn, but and he won't be able to assign her as a general until
scholar.
next turn. He went scholar.
Scholar. I told
instead
you,
of zealot.
He's got it backwards.
He had zealot there available.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Very weird selection.
Like I think zealot
what age
would
can they be
18.
Can they be assigned as generals?
18.
18. So it wouldn't. So I mean, maybe that's his concern. Is it's still 2 turns away from even getting on the field. It may be over by then.
I honestly would have gone zealot. Like it lets you
me too.
force. It lets get everything in. You have that extra fatigue point. He does have spears, and he did upgrade a spear here. Yeah. Ooh. Definitely tense here.
I want to see. I mean, I don't mind the spear upgrade, but I almost don't know if it's worth it at the moment. At the moment, troops getting attacks off this turn.
Yeah, I would have prioritized attacking
he's
units.
Taking the bait on these scouts.
He killed the scout. Okay, sure, whatever.
Maybe he needs the adjacencies. I don't know. Is he going to go for
Egypt?
that,
Egypt is blocking. Like Egypt did pull in like all 3 scouts to try to block access.
Sure.
Not sure where this guy's moving. Okay, he's moving into the city. He's going to use the city to tank for him. Good choice.
Remind me, can you promote when you're to a spear if you're not at full health, or do you have to be at full health to upgrade?
You have to be at full health to upgrade.
Gotcha.
Which is why I didn't particularly love him moving in. All right, I'm not sure how I feel about the spear promotion on an urban tile in front of the units that are just going to stun you. Like, you want to promote not in front of your opponent. So,
yeah.
And tactics against human players is definitely tough. It's one of the harder things to learn.
He's basically opted to take the turn off to get promotions.
Yes, in front of his unit, in front of his enemy.
Yeah.
Which is not the time. Oh, and he's chopping, because he's hati, he can chop. So he chopped some wood that he was hiding in. Oh dear.
This is a decision.
Not a good choice here. I think he could have killed at least a unit.
I mean, the decision he's making here is, at least in part with some of these promotions, is stronger units next turn are better than forcing my weaker units into them this turn. And that might be true long term, but I don't think it's true here. And maybe he just doesn't have the sight. If I look at his sight, though, he can see. He's got a scout in there. So he can see this is all of Egypt's units.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. So
I'm not sure we want to be taking turns off killing them then.
I agree.
Like even just from the math, right? We worked it out a second ago. It's 33% more damage on these unit exchanges by and large, right? From just the flat 4 to the flat 5. I know it's not exactly that, but 2 turns of attack is better than 1 on that, right? What's the break even for that? It's gonna be 3 or 4 turns, right? Like it just doesn't.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think here it's hard. It's a hard call to make, right? I would have also loved to see him not move in some of these warriors and like keep them back here ready to promote, given that he knew that he was going to promote them, so they could promote and then come in, as opposed to go in and then promote. Like this just feels like he's just going to have this stunned on. Like it's just going to get stunned next turn.
Yeah. And when he's as order shy as this, I mean, he does have. I suppose he can buy some orders here, but that's a very inefficient way to fight, buying orders. But right now, he can't even get. Like his units here haven't all attacked. There's a slinger in range of that chariot that hasn't attacked.
He hasn't attacked at all, I think.
Yeah, he's chosen to make no attacks.
Okay, the scout. He killed the scout. That was it.
Yeah.
Egypt
got to be the lowest priority unit on the board, right?
Egypt is desperation pulling in this worker as well to help block. Like, definitely feels a little desperate here. He also has a tech choice here. Timer. He could extend if he needs to. We'll see if he does. He's out of orders at least, so he's made all those moves. So if he extends time, he only has 31 seconds left extension.
He needs to assign his tech too.
Yeah, he can do that as opponent's turn. So.
Oh, that's true.
All right, he's out of time. Looks like the timer pressure is also something. So Egypt's going to get this free ballista, which is going to take forever to get there. But if he can get it there, it's going to be incredibly strong, because like this ballista will do 15 damage to a slinger, 13 damage to a spear. Like, dear God. Or I guess
Yeah, Ballista right now is going to be terrifying.
yeah, but it's going to take for 14 damage to spear on flat. It's just going to take forever. He has no road, so it's like never going to make it over there. So, but it'll probably prevent Hati from pushing in, assuming Hati clears this thing. But I really don't like Hati's tactical decision here to not attack for a turn with
Yep.
units in front of you.
It may not matter though.
May
Again,
not
Egypt,
matter.
half of Egypt's cities are autonomous, and they are not interested in going to war.
Egypt's heir
So
has the choice of Zealot or Schemer. Curious to see what he chooses. Both good choices. Schemer might be good for the orders on demand. You can also adopt
not get along with
paganism as a state religion. Tacticians do not get along with commanders, I think.
Okay.
I'm going to say that. Yes, commanders and tacticians hate each other. I'm in charge of strategy. Tactics is irrelevant. No, tactics are what matter. You're stupid strategics.
Yeah.
So, all right, he's force marching out. Egypt is retreating.
Wow. I would not have predicted this outcome even a turn ago, right? I would have expected these Egypt units to have died here on the last round and that the fight to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think these are always the hard questions to make, right? Like, Egypt chose to attack, didn't really accomplish anything with the attack. I guess they took the city
I like
site.
Egypt's retreat here.
No, I agree with the retreat. I think this is the right call. You have a tech advantage. You have still have a science advantage, an enormous science advantage. Although Hati is catching up, 44 versus 54, and that scholar leader will help next turn as well. So
he's got to figure out how to get his cities back under his own control. He's like running at half right now. He doesn't have. He's already at a disadvantage. So he's like at a third of the city count right now.
Yeah, and we've got a random slinger coming out there. And the Grand Vizier is ill, at least. So
that's hopeful.
The settler, he hasn't cleared this site, so he's definitely been much slower in settling than Blaj. But this is going to give Blaj some breathing room here to upgrade everything to spear and then potentially move in. Like he's just attacking with everything he has. Lots of units.
Honestly, I don't even think Egypt traded that poorly. With Blaj taking that turn off last turn, not killing anything. Essentially Egypt's wasted some turn. They've moved in, killed a couple things, lost a few, I think 2 spears in the end, and then walked out.
Yep.
2 spears and a scout.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would question like the attack in the first place because they didn't really gain anything by the attack. I guess they wanted to contest the city site, but let me rephrase it. Like, imagine if Egypt had had a settler ready to go and had contested the city site and then settled it. That would have been.
I'm not so ready to condemn that attack, right? Because I think it was that started with the stunner opening up on warriors, right?
Yes, on the zealot leader back in the day. So, yeah.
That. I mean, it evolved poorly for Egypt, but Egypt's now backed out pretty much unscathed. And for a guy who's got stronger units that are now damaged and no real reinforcements coming, or not many reinforcements coming for quite a while, like that's about as good as it gets. You get in, you maybe try to stop the objective. It didn't quite work out. You get out not taking many losses. You save the bulk of your forces, and your higher tiered, higher value units maybe take over.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like he did get some value out of that. He got some kills. I think traded favorably. Like what he lost a spear. Like we can look at the total units lost count. It won't unfortunately show me what they were.
And hypothetically, these chariots are wow. Wasn't expected. Did you see that last move here?
No, I missed it because I was looking at stats. What happened?
Did the players leave? Maybe that was an AI move because there's a slinger just rushed in there.
No, this is Blaj's turn. Wow. Blaj just started his turn. He's going in to kill this. So Egypt backed off, but Blaj did not.
More unexpected events from my perspective. I mean, if he gets these strong units dead, that's gonna be great for him. Can he afford to follow this up?
I mean, this feels really dangerous because you've got 2 light chariots and Egypt just rushed out another light chariot. And you have no more forests protecting you. These light chariots are going to annihilate these units. The one without a tactician. Yeah.
Egypt saving his units is the thing we were just talking about. At least I was thinking it was going to be strong for him. If he doesn't actually get to save those units, maybe he baits these spears into coming across the river and gets to clean them up.
Yes. He will have his new heir here in a second. Assuming the throne as well. I feel like he's just going to lose. I think he's at least going to lose one slinger here just because it's going to get stunned by the tactician. So like, I don't know but like, can Egypt kill anything else? I don't know that Egypt can. Maybe. Egypt can definitely kill two. They can stun a slinger and kill a slinger. So he's going to trade 2 slingers for a spearman. I don't know that I love that trade.
Well, is he done pumping things in though? If he like half steps all those spears like this turn into range for next turn rather than trying to full move some stuff and gets committed, like I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would, instead of like the sprint for the spear, I'd have liked to see like a stutter step potentially
Yeah.
or something, but like, or roads. A worker with a road would help so much.
Yeah.
Roads basically pay back as soon as you move move a unit over the road. Anyway, this is where we're going to end off after this turn, so we'll have to resume
Exciting.
next turn. Divination coming out from Hati, a turn 51 divination. But that will potentially give him a power spike in that, like, that'll get him to his 4th law. He is ready here with a garrison and 2 barracks in his rider seat. So, and the Yazalakaya, which is giving him tons of civics income. Hadi is getting 156 civics a turn right now versus just 98 for Egypt.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting first half of the match here, first part of the match.
Yeah. Unexpected turn of event with this war too. I would never have predicted this was the position at the end of 3 turns.
Yeah. And as Siamumi points out, like Egypt really values those light chariots and was scared of the spears. And the spears do 7 damage to the chariots. So 3 spears will kill a chariot, and those are expensive to replace.
I want to look at these resource cards. I hadn't even thought about this as a resource game here. What is so if we're looking at we saw the damage values change, like we did that math already here. What are the costs of the chariots versus versus these slingers or these warriors in terms of like training costs? Like how much time per, how many turns of input does it take to get these?
Yeah, and he also rushed all those light chariots with civics as well, making them even pricier. Light chariot is 100 food, 50 wood, and 120 training.
120 training, okay. And what is a warrior's training?
Warrior's training is just checking here. Warrior's training is 60, and a spearman's training is 80. A warrior is 50 iron, and a spearman is 50 iron and 50 wood.
So just on the production cost, then the chariot's twice as much production, training production that is, as the warriors.
Oh, huh. And Fluffy points out that he did not have the scholar inherit. He actually had the regent stay on the throne with the commander, which I think
makes some sense here. Although maybe not as much sense as just the zealot becoming leader.
Yeah, I mean, I think going zealot would have been better. But that does mean all these units are getting XP, and hopefully the players here are going to pause and save the game. I will take a save just in case. And there's indeed the pause. All right, so we're done after 51 turns, full played. Thank you, Filthy. It was really great co-casting with you. I'm very happy to have you getting back into Old World. And
I'm not making any promises yet, but this was very exciting. It was fun to see some multiplayer Old World again. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the later tournament games.
All right, and thanks for the game here. And yeah, it looks like this light Egypt said we're stopping here and then moved in a light chariot that had just gotten rushed out and didn't attack. That ballista is also on the way, so I don't think Egypt is going to lose this city, but we definitely have some tension here. And yes, the Regent Queen definitely has much better stats at 3 wisdom and 6 courage versus 4 wisdom and 1 charisma. Of course, 3 discipline also helps a lot, and Pathfinder and Brave versus melee units is also handy. And she has a pet monkey. So cool. Well, I think we will pause stream and recording here because this ends part 1, and eagerly look forward to part 2. Definitely, we have a match. I think we were a little worried early on with that science lead from Egypt, but yeah.
Absolutely. Fun one to watch. I'm glad we got a little bit of action right before the part cut. So
awesome. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and the stream here. Thanks for watching.